Are we started? Yep. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of What We're Watching Weekly on a Saturday, where we are talking about the upcoming fall TV schedule. I am Gregor Sprague, joined by Evan Ruckty, Corey Scott, and Beatmaster, all the way over in Europe, where we are going to we each have picked our poison in networks, and we're going to talk about. Some of us have done extra credit and are going to talk about what got renewed or canceled from this last season, which I slacked and I did not. So why don't we go on down the line and introduce ourselves? I'll start. I'm one of the hosts. I'm Gregor Sprague. Hi.
Hi, I'm
Evan.
Evan Rockdy, and I'm Mr. Fusion on Twitter and in the Twit chat room, the same handle.
That'd be.
Hey, go ahead, Corey.
Hi, I'm Corey Scott. I am a co-host of What We're Watching Weekly. You can find more information about me at CaptainTemerity.com.
And I'm Beat Morgenthaler from Switzerland. You better know me as Beatmaster in Twitter as well as other places.
All right, and I will kick things off with the CW. Now, like I said before, I sort of slacked because I do. If you're not familiar with What We're Watching Weekly, shame on you. Because why are you watching our extra credit special if you don't watch our show?
Don't shun people who watch this just because they don't watch the other one. Let's take what we can get.
Well, hey! I was gonna get to that. You can watch us what we normally do on Spreecast.com on Mondays at 9:30 East, 6:30 West. I think it's 3:30 in the morning over in Switzerland. Where Beatmaster is at. And I do what's called starts and stops, and at the end we have the cancellations. And right now I have left up there the final curtains, so it's what's renewed or canceled for these shows, including the networks, so including CW and ABC, which are my two networks. So I'm going to kick things off with the CW, starting with The Flash. Now, I'm not going to show the trailer because you probably have already seen the Flash trailer, both the short version where it's the Green Arrow sitting there shooting the arrow and the Flash running and catching it and all that stuff, and then the long one where you see Tom Cavanaugh and all the excitement and all that stuff. It's pretty fun. So, what do you guys got to say about that trailer, and about the Flash in general?
So far, I think it looks good, and I'm interested to see how it plays out because I'm not terribly familiar with the character and the source material. So.
Yeah.
And yeah, to see how they cross it over with the Arrow.
No, yeah, definitely. And I know it's one of the things that me and Corey talked about on the show, where it seems like the Flash is one of the things where you're finally going to get the introduction of powers on TV in the DC universe, and you're also going to have a big rogues gallery to deal with here, not just like, okay, I can't really use them because they're tied in with other people.
Yeah, Gregor, you're frozen a little bit for me. Anyway, part of the thing with it is that when you look at the WB shows as far as what they've done so far with superheroes, going back to Smallville started in the first season with their Freak of the Week kind of thing. It was always people who were mutated by the kryptonite rocks that were around the town. So we didn't really get supervillains until a couple seasons in, as I remember. Green Arrow, we've had at least one sort of major villain per season. We've had Merlin in the first season, and the second season it's been more about Deathstroke and the groupings there. And they have introduced powers with the Mirakuru Jug. But the Flash is really, as far as DC Comics is concerned, and as far as most superhero comics are concerned, has one of the best rogues galleries out there. Now, I don't expect that they're going to introduce all the rogues in this season, but what I'm hoping is that even if we get one per season, that we don't have one, they get through their story and they're done and gone. I don't want to see them just getting killed left and right, because the rogues that the Flash usually fights wind up teaming up. and that is kind of a really cool thing. It's what they've talked about with the Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man sequel, which is going to be the Sinister Six. It's like that for the Flash all the time. He's fighting a group of villains. Now, he does do singular stuff, and those people in the Rogues Gallery do have their singular things against him as well. But when they team up, it is something that's very intense, and it's something that you don't see a lot of the other heroes get to do, and certainly not Green Arrow so far. So I don't expect a ton of crossover in this first season between it and Green Arrow, but I do see both of these shows getting to expand their universes more. With Green Arrow, we've also seen the introduction of the Suicide Squad, and I think it'll branch out from there. We've seen Black Canary come in, the Huntress. With the Flash, we have seen some hints at where Green Lantern is from. They've had Ferris Air kind of hinted at it a little bit. So there is a possibility for this to get bigger and bigger. I don't want it to grow too much because I don't want them to not think about what they're introducing. I want them to be careful, especially if they introduce other heroes. But I don't want them to just shy away from it because it's like, oh, we don't have a Green Lantern show planned, so we can't do this yet. No, make that happen. Eventually in Smallville, they did introduce things like the Martian Manhunter and a Flash character and an Aquaman character and a Green Arrow character. So I hope that we get to that point, but I hope that they get to do the slow, strong build as opposed to just throwing things in. The Wonder Twins, yeah, that still amazes me that there was a Wonder Twins episode. How cool was that, and how stupid was that at the same time? She had a phone with Gleek's image on it. That's great.
Didn't in the
and real quick, the it's done by the same studio. I think it's got a lot of the same EPs and writers. Greg Berlanti, who's going to be writing for X-Men or one of the X-Men books at Marvel here soon, and he's writing the pilot. Jeff Johns, who works at DC on a lot of the books and is one of the architects there, and he's going to be writing on the pilot. Andrew Kreisberg is an EP and writer on the pilot, and David Nutter is a director for the pilot and is executive producer. And the log line is Barry Allen was just 11 years old when his mother was killed in a bizarre and terrifying incident, and his father was falsely convicted of the murder. So it's traditional Barry Allen to that extent as well. And there was the backdoor pilot this past season in Arrow as well that they hinted at in the trailer for in the extended trailer for Arrow, or not Arrow, for the Flash. And so I mean it should be pretty good. So I mean,
I thought I saw in the trailer that the villain that they showed in the extended one, isn't it the villain Weatherman or something like that?
Weather Wizard.
Weather Wizard, that's right, he's in there. So that'll be interesting.
Beatmaster, what are your thoughts on it?
I was thinking how much can bleed over to the DC movie universe and what stays on TV only. So far, I'm not impressed by having that young Barry Allen, but I leave it give it some chances to grow. Arrow surprised us as well, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, a young Barry Allen it's the expectation of a CW show is that they're going to go with the teenage heartthrobby kind of person. At least they didn't go with an actor who's going to spend most of the time without a shirt on, although I see that they worked that into the pilot. But that has been commonly what they're going for is the young starting out heroes, which I don't mind. I mean, you could go way young and do Gotham, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but at least what I keep coming back to is that this is a Barry Allen who is a bit nerdy. It's very much their Peter Parker take as far as introducing a superhero into their CW line. They could have done just another buff guy, another strong guy. I'm sure they would love to have done Batman in the same way that they've done Green Arrow. I'm not sure exactly why they didn't do Gotham, but at least we get two different kind of styles and voices for these characters. And one thing that I've said from the very beginning when they started releasing photos of the kid who's playing Barry is that he's smiling in the costume. He's having fun. and that is a huge change from what we've seen from any of the stuff they've done with superheroes so far. There was not a lot of fun in Smallville, at least as far as Clark was concerned. There wasn't a lot of fun in Green Arrow. There's moments here and there, but it's almost never the leads. And in this case, Barry, as the hero, gets to enjoy what he's doing. He's excited, and even in one of the trailers they show, he's got Ollie making jokes, and that to me is a difference in tone that I very much look forward to.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. And great that you hit it on the head with the whole Peter Parker thing. I mean, like the DC equivalent of Peter Parker. And so let's move on to the next one, and this one I don't have a trailer for. But it's iZombie, and it's a Warner Brothers Television, DC Entertainment, Rob Thomas production. So it has that Veronica Mars push, which, and I didn't realize, and I did the research for this a little bit, but I didn't realize this was a DC property. That iZombie. I didn't realize this had the DC bump as well as the Rob Thomas bump.
Beat, are you familiar with iZombie at all?
No, but I listened to Comic Book Girl 19, and she talked about it, that they don't follow the comics at all. They go for the white trash zombie, and don't pay royalties for that. So it's a strange situation where the content of the comics doesn't interfere with the TV series itself.
Yeah, so what I know of the property is that it was a Vertigo book a couple years ago. I think Chris Robertson is the one who created it and was writing it. And it was reasonably popular, but it was Vertigo numbers. It wasn't a huge hit, but it has a few trades out, so you can catch up on it.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about the book itself, but I do know that Robertson is one of the people who left DC in the slight exodus of people leaving over the Alan Moore thing when they started doing the Watchmen prequels, and people having disagreements with what DC was doing. So Robertson is one of the people who left very publicly, stating his issues with them. He's gone on to create other stuff. He does a digital series, Monkey something or another. It's not Monkey Bone, but it's something like that, where it's the group of books that are published digitally. It's under that banner head. His is something Rex, Edison Rex, I think, which is a supervillain turned heroic kind of book. It's pretty good. But anyways, so I don't think that there's a lot of love between Robertson and DC, and I don't think he's really enraptured with them using his property for a show as much as somebody would normally be to say, oh yeah, I wrote this or I created this comic. Now they're making a TV show out of it. I don't know that there's a lot of great joy between the two on that, so maybe that's why they are altering things. But it is, there is some semblance of a connection between the original comic and this, but it's going to be light. On the other hand, Veronica Mars, Rob Thomas doing it is fantastic. I mean, he just had a really big sort of, not a comeback so much, but he got a lot of recognition for the Kickstarter for the Veronica Mars movie, and they're doing novels based on the character now. So it's nice to see him get back to his sort of CW roots and get to try something new with them again. Yeah. That will hopefully last longer than the 3 seasons that he got with Veronica, but
yeah,
3 great seasons.
Yeah, and the other writers and EPs and directors on here, Diane Ruggiero is an EP and a writer for the pilot. Rob Thomas is director, EP, and writer on the pilot, or he's director for the pilot and writer and EP. He wrote the pilot as well. Dan Etheridge is a writer, and then Danielle Stockdick. I'm sorry. I have a difficult to pronounce last name, so I hate butchering last names. Is an EP, and then the logline is Olivia Liv Moore was a rosy-cheeked, disciplined, overachieving medical resident who had her life path completely mapped out until the night she attended a party that unexpectedly turned into a zombie-feeding frenzy. And so now she's basically, from what I've gathered, she turned into a zombie who works in the morgue and it's from doing research, it sounds a little bit like Chew, where she like eats the brains and gains their memories and solves the crimes that way.
Right.
So like it sounds really interesting to me.
Just for prosperity, the name of the comics it is based upon is my life as a white trash zombie, and the synopsis sounds as well much more like this story as the iZombie comic itself.
Yeah. All right. Next is a TV show I'm more interested in, but that's because I have the guilty pleasure of watching these dramas. It's called Jane the Virgin. The studio is CBS Television Studios. Electus. The log line is when Jane Villanueva was a young girl, her grandmother Alba convinced her of two things: telenovelas are the highest form of entertainment, and women must protect their virginity at all costs. And the EPs, writers, and all this involved on there are Janine Snyder-Ehrman, who is an EP and writer on the pilot, Jorge Garnier, who was an EP, Gary Pearl, who is an EP, Ben Silverman, who is an EP, and Brad Silberling, who directed the pilot. I saw the extended 5-minute trailer for this. It looks pretty funny. I recognize some of the actors from other things, like the grandma is also the grandma from Switched at Birth, and basically the extended plot is the main character Jane is going for a pap smear, and there's just an overrushed doctor gets pap smear and artificial insemination mixed up, and surprise, she's now pregnant. And hilarity ensues. And it turns out the guy that they used the sperm for, she knows, and all this stuff.
I thought you were gonna say that he was in jail or something.
No, it's
or
like
dead or.
No, it's you throw a line in there like it was like, because it's like the girl that was going for to be inseminated was like a guy that I think she works with or something.
Huh.
And like there's a line like, why don't you go tell her that this is your last chance to have a kid or something like this. And I'm like, okay, that'd probably be an interesting episode. And I'm like, I might actually watch this, depending on which day it is.
So I think in order for the series to have longevity, she has to have the kid and keep it, I would think.
Yeah.
And then potentially get married to the father.
Yeah, there's other. It's one of those. It's a family drama sort of deal.
It sounds like an ABC Family show.
Yeah, it very well could fit on ABC Family. There were other lines that were like, wow, ABC Family line. There's another ABC Family line.
Huh.
Yeah, ABC Family is basically ABC's version of the CW anyways. It's a lot of the teen, not all of it's family oriented, but it is kind of a lower budget, lower tier, but aimed at a younger viewing audience. I watched the writers' room the other day that had the people from Pretty Little Liars in it. They made the show sound very compelling, and then they played a clip from the show, and I'm like, oh, that looks awful.
You're not a teenage girl, so.
I'm not a teenage girl, but I can't say that I'm against watching programming aimed towards teenage girls in certain cases. It's just the production value of it looked really bad. But the way that the writers talk about it and the way that they talk about the fans and how it was the most tweeted season premiere ever on Twitter and stuff like that, all of that is a pretty good pedigree, so I'm not putting the show down. It's just when I looked at it, it looked like just a step above soap opera as far as the production values of it. So
okay, let's be honest though. That's not a full step. That's a half step. That's not even a half step. That's a quarter step.
You wouldn't even trip if you bumped your toe on it. Yeah, I agree.
All right, and then the last CW show, that's a full, according to Variety here, that's up for a series pickup, is The Messengers. This is done by CBS Television Studios, Thunder Road Pictures. This executive produced by Ted Humphries. Basil Iwanick is another executive producer, and directed by Stephen Williams. And the log line is, "And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key to the bottomless pit." I did research on this. I could not find a trailer. I could not find anything. I guess this was supposed to be a 10-episode miniseries, so I really couldn't find anything else about this. The link that I give for you guys in the doc, what is to the 10-episode miniseries that has some of the actors involved, and yeah. So.
Yeah. So the CW doesn't do well with rather deep material. I guess that's. I don't want to sound like I'm harping on the CW and what their shows are, because their shows are definitely. I find some of them entertaining. I find some of them horrendous. That's any network for me, though. But when they try to go into something that's more cerebral, it really rarely works. So when they tried to do Cult last season, it did not last very long. And I'm not going to say it was a great show anyways, but it really seemed like it was outside of their wheelhouse. As much as I appreciate the idea of a network putting into doing a miniseries and sticking it out as a miniseries and saying, we've got the story we want to tell, we're going to do it in this many episodes and then it's done. I see CBS get away with that every once in a while. NBC has done that. ABC used to do it really well in the 90s. But I don't know that the CW is going to be the place where their audience is going to tune into that. I think that they want the long-form dramas that they're used to. Let's see how this does.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, from what I've seen with the CW stuff, it looks like Jane the Virgin is going to try to replace the Carrie Diaries, because I believe the Carrie Diaries got canceled. Messengers is replacing Cult.
Or Tomorrow People.
And then Flash is expanding. Flash is replacing / expanding, or is replacing Tomorrow People / expanding Arrow.
Right.
That's basically how I see it. And then that fourth one, iZombie, is doing that same thing with replacing Tomorrow People.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how iZombie plays out. Oh, go ahead, Beatmaster. I'm sorry.
I wasn't saying anything.
Oh, I thought you were. Maybe I was hearing myself. Yeah, I think we'll have to see how something like iZombie plays out. iZombie, definitely, I want it to be the next Veronica Mars. Maybe it will be something between that and Supernatural. I guess the Supernatural spinoff didn't get picked up, which is too bad, because that's a show that's definitely got a built-in audience. They've got their couple of vampire shows. It probably spins more in that wheelhouse. Supernatural with some investigative stuff to it. It's definitely not a Heart of Dixie.
Yeah.
Did you say that there wasn't a trailer for iZombie, or was there?
No, the only trailers I was able to find on YouTube, I was looking exclusively on YouTube, was for The Flash and Jane the Virgin.
Okay, gotcha.
And Jane the Virgin had two. There was a 30-second one, which has been playing on TV, and then a extended 5-minute one, and then same thing with Flash, which was the extended one, which is the one that I have in the link on the doc, which we'll have the links for our docs in the show notes on afterwards, folks.
Oh
so
yeah, you'll put those links down below on the YouTube video so that if somebody's watching it, they can go to them.
Yep.
Okay.
And I apologize because my doc is weird and not well laid out because it's put together like how I think, and at least I put it together in a Word document that you can read on Google Docs as opposed to in Scrivener, which is where I would prefer to have my brain matter kind of hang out.
All right, so that does it for CBS.
No.
So,
CW. Corey has the CBS.
yeah, sorry, I was looking at CBS. So, Evan, you want to go with Fox?
Sure, I'll go next. Okay, so we'll start off with what's been canceled, which you probably already know is Almost Human was canceled. American Dad is technically not canceled, it's just moving from Fox to TBS. Dads was canceled. Enlisted was canceled. Raising Hope was canceled. Rake is canceled. Surviving Jack. And then the one that I'm surprised that the doc that I was reading online that beat, but I put the X Factor was canceled. And then
Yep.
for renewed shows for Fox, coming up, you have Bob's Burgers, Bones, one of the two freshman shows, 9-9, Family, New Girl got renewed, Sleepy Hollow, the other freshman show got renewed, The Following got renewed, The Mindy Project, and The Simpsons got renewed. There'll be season Simpsons coming up in the fall. And they're going to do a Family Guy and Simpsons crossover, and I think they're also going to do, or they're working on a Futurama and Simpsons crossover episode as well. We have those to look forward to in the fall. And then the first new show.
That will be cool.
Which one? The Family Guy Simpsons or the Futurama Simpsons?
Futurama Simpsons is more of something that I'm interested in seeing. Family Guy Simpsons, I think, sounds intriguing, but the problem is that the Simpsons writers are not at their strongest and haven't been for some time, and the Family Guy writing has gone way downhill. Every once in a while I'll get a moment of just pure hilariousness on that show, but it hasn't really held up since a couple seasons into the bringing it back. At least consistently. So I hope that they really throw their all into this crossover, but I think people who are fans of The Simpsons are much more intrigued by seeing a crossover with Futurama. That's something we wanted for a long time.
Right. Okay, now here's the first new show from Fox. It's coming out it doesn't have a premiere date yet. These are in alphabetical order, and it's sometime next year, presumably in the spring, and it has 13 episodes, and it's a show called Backstrom, and it is described as an American crime drama based on a Swedish book series, and it is developed by the creator of Bones, Hart Hansen, and the basic premise is Backstrom is a subversive and comic crime procedural about the unhealthy, offensive, albeit brilliant detective who is brought back from exile to run the Portland Police Bureau's Special Crimes Unit. And Backstrom is being played by Rainn Wilson, and it also stars Dennis Haysbert in it as well. And there's a trailer in my doc. It goes to the Fox website, and you can see a trailer. It looks interesting, but what I've heard is people say that it's like a cop/detective version of House as far as the way the main character is. So I'm kind of interested to see how that plays out.
It looks like House taken to a Brooklyn Nine-Nine sort of comedy level. House had some really funny stuff, but was always a very serious medical drama too. This definitely is, the character seems House-ish. I didn't know, as I'm watching the trailer, it's just the more it exposed to me, the more surprised I was that they were making the show. And it is so far outside of what I expected, and it looks really fun. I couldn't tell you that I would have been interested just from the description alone. And Rainn Wilson is someone that I didn't know that I was going to want to watch outside of being Dwight Schrute.
Yeah.
But this trailer really snuck up on me, and I'm excited for it, and I hope it does better than the last Bones spinoff, The Finder, which was a show that I really liked and had a great cast, but unfortunately didn't catch on.
I believe this show, if you go on YouTube, you can find it because it was originally produced by CBS, did a pilot for it and passed on it. And I don't know if Fox did a new version or not, but there's a clip from the original CBS pilot that they passed on, and I didn't watch that, but it's out there if you look for it on YouTube, I believe. So, but that's different than what you'll see on the Fox website because that's more of what or that's what is actually going to air when it premieres sometime in the first half of next year, I think.
Cool. I will have to look for that.
Yeah, and then, okay, the second show is a reality game show called Boom. And Boom is based on an Israeli show of the same name, and it fuses the drama, intensity, and thrill of a blockbuster action movie with the high-octane fun of a video game. A squad of 4 players must defeat 8 replica bombs by answering trivia questions correctly with a strict time limit. In nail-biting scenes, the nominated players must defuse 1 bomb per question by cutting through colored wires representing multiple choice answers, which the ticking clock counts down. If the player answers correctly, the prize money builds and they move to the next bomb. Boom delivers fierce tension and light-hearted humor in quick succession, extending the experience not only to those in the studio, but also to viewers at home who can play along. And it's supposed to premiere sometime next year, but Fox doesn't even. It's the one show I believe that they don't have a website for yet.
Anybody on this one?
Anybody think it'll be good? It's one of 2 reality shows that Fox has. This being the lone game show.
No, with this being a game show, I honestly think what's going to happen is this is going to be going up against, and this is going to be a little preview with the ABC dramas that I got coming up, going up against Agent Carter, where it's going to be going up in Christmas time, or rumored to go up against Christmas time, where there's not going to be airing any new episodes of their comedies or X Factor, sorry, not X Factor, American Idol or So You Think You Can Dance or whatever reality shows that they normally air. So they're gonna be like, we have that game show thing. What was it called? It was like some explosion. It was like bang. No, that's not it. Oh, boom. Yeah, we'll play that. That's honestly what I think it is. What will happen.
And the thing of it is, they'll be able to shoot it, I would assume, relatively close to when it airs, so they don't. That's why they haven't shot anything yet. I mean, I think they just in the pitch for it, they just presented probably clips from the Israeli show, and then said this is what ours will be like, but but on Fox.
But less Israeli.
Yeah.
Well, they can do a low production value version of it to do the pilot without having to have a live audience, without having to have prizes furnished and everything. It's not very expensive to do a reality game show. I like the fact that it has so much emphasis on bombs because I have a feeling that's what it's going to be. I think it'll follow other great reality shows from Fox like Riot and what was the one where they threw things over the edge of the stage so they crashed down?
Or what about The Hole in the Wall?
Hole in the Wall. Hole in the Wall was a terrible, stupid idea for a Fox primetime show. Putting it onto the Cartoon Network for kids to play, though, makes it another double dare. And in that case, it works great. I think it was somebody who just thought, oh, we can sophisticate this up. No, there's no sophisticating that up. And a lot of these shows, it's a problem with Fox's shows that they go for a very simple premise that gets dull fast. And it's not surprising that this is something that they would come up with. I just don't see it lasting long at all. I think it'll run because it's cheap, and then it'll go away because hopefully no one will remember they did it. But I'll remember, Fox. I will always remember what you've done.
Okay. Now the next show is the lone animated series that Fox has coming sometime next year, and it has a 13-episode commitment, and it is entitled Border Town. And it is an animated series from Seth MacFarlane and Mark Hentman. The show centers on 2 families living in a fictional desert town near the border between the United States and Mexico. Hentman and MacFarlane will executive produce with Alex Carter and Dan Weber. The series 2 leads are neighbors Bud Blackwald, a Border Patrol agent and father of 3, threatened by the cultural changes in his town, and Ernesto Gonzalez, a Mexican immigrant and a family man happy to be in America. Of course, their paths cross and hilarity ensues. Now, I'll say this. based on the one image I saw, it does not look stylistically like it's a Seth MacFarlane or Fuzzy Door production, but apparently it is, so take that what you will. And then it stars Alex Borstein,
Of course.
Efren Ramirez from who was Pedro in Napoleon Dynamite.
Of course.
Judah Friedlander is in it. Those are the name actors. And then it premieres sometime next year with a 13-episode commitment.
When you've got the guy from Napoleon Dynamite who wasn't Napoleon Dynamite, and that's your named actor, yeah, you're going for it. So it really does. While it doesn't sound like it's stylistically looking like a MacFarlane show, it does sound like Stan Smith living next door to the racial stereotype stuff that they did on the Cleveland show. I can't say that it sounds like I'm going to get anything new out of it, which is unfortunate. But if it keeps MacFarlane from making more movies that he stars in without a teddy bear, maybe it's the right step.
Well, I think they're already well into developing Ted 2, so...
Yeah.
Now, the next show on my list, I don't know if we have to go into it in any depth, because I think all of us know enough about it.
No, hold up here. I see this thing. I'm looking ahead. It's this goat ham. What is this goat ham here?
No, it's Got Ham. It's Got Ham, and it's the new Got Milk campaign with pigs.
Oh.
Is it like
okay.
instead of where's the beef, you got ham?
Yes.
Ham?
Okay. Now I see it's going to be on Mondays at 8. So basically the pork people, Big Pork has basically spent big bucks to basically just take an hour at a time just to air I'm assuming it's going to be an hour to air pigs, and it's not spelled PYG, I'm assuming.
But imagine this. In the very first scene, the main character is walking down an alley with his parents, and out of the shadows come two guys who pull out guns and shoot his parents dead in front of him.
Is it with sausages?
I'm not sure. I think they used bacon.
There you go, because that's the way I want to go. I will say just real fast, I know we're taking this joke way too far. There is a Batman villain named Mr. Pig, PYG, Greg, so...
I know. No, that's why I made it.
Okay, good.
He's been on Batman Eternal. He's one of the people they've been using in Batman Eternal. That's why I said PYG.
All right.
All I'm going to say about this right now is that if you go to the link in the doc for the show, there's like I think it's 3 or 4 minute trailer, and I'm not sure how much we need to discuss this because we know a lot about it. So, do you think it would be helpful if I described it for those who would be watching the?
Yeah.
Give them a little taste.
Okay, the description is, a new recruit in Captain Sarah Essen's Gotham Police Department, Detective James Gordon is paired with Harvey Bullock to solve one of Gotham's most high-profile cases ever, the murder of Thomas and Martha Wayne. During his investigation, Gordon meets the Wayne's son, Bruce, now in the care of his butler, Alfred, which further compels Gordon to catch the killer. Along the way, Gordon must confront a gang boss, Fish Mooney, as well as the many of Gotham's future villains such as Selina Kyle, Oswald Cobblepot. Eventually, Gordon is forced to form an unlikely friendship with Bruce, one that will help shape the boy's future in becoming the Dark Knight. And it stars Benjamin McKenzie, Donald Logue, and Jada Pinkett Smith. And as Greg said, it's on Monday nights at 8 p.m. And they have a 16-episode commitment already, so...
Yeah, I mean, just off the bat, the fact that they have the main villain, who is a gang boss, being played by a woman, Jada Pinkett Smith, is very cool and intriguing to me. The fact that she's a character that's not from the comics means that they can do any number of things with her story arc and surprise us, which is not usually something you get on superhero TV shows or movies. If they're trying to follow the comics too much, then you don't usually get to be surprised without being annoyed, because we're fanboys. The other thing is that Ben McKenzie has been doing Southland for the last couple of years, which is a very good show, although underrated and not hugely successful, but has done some really good stuff. Donald Logue is a favorite of mine. Getting him as Harvey Bullock, I think, is a definite win for the program. The people that they have playing the up-and-coming villains, like the guy who plays the Penguin, has a great look for the Penguin. I know the actor from other things, so when they showed him playing Cobblepot, I got really kind of excited. I'm like, oh yeah, he's got the face for it. He's got the attitude for it. I've seen him play parts that are just so weird and off kilter that he could be great at this. I just worry about introducing all these villains so early on to see them grow into what they're supposed to be, or having all these villains running around while Batman's still 10.
Right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the idea of a cop show based in Gotham, there was a comic series called Gotham Central for a few years that was phenomenal, that people still miss and would love to see come back. This could be really, really cool, but it's Fox, so the better it is, the less likely you are to get it to stick around.
Right. I'm curious because it's a DC property, but it's not airing on the CW, which hopefully that means it'll be darker than anything on the CW, or go differently than what you would expect if it had been on CW.
If they have Bruce walking around without his shirt on a lot, that's going to be really weird.
What, he's like 10 years old? Oh, and is the actor who plays Bruce Wayne, is he the same one that was the kid in Touch?
In Touch, yeah.
That's what I thought.
B-Master, I'm sorry for interrupting you. What were you going to say?
The question was if we need a darker series again, because it all feels like Call of Duty on TV now. So if you would have some more jokes, some more fun in it, I wouldn't mind.
Yes, and I'm hoping that we'll get some of that. It will probably be a bleak, dark humor, but I think we will get most of our funny lines, likely from the Harvey Bullock character, who was always sort of a comic relief without being over-the-top dumb in the animated series. They let the character grow to be a much stronger character over time, but he was that sort of little bit bumbling cop to begin with, and I think that's something that Donald Logue could really excel at, because I think he's done that part a good number of times while still playing strong characters, but bringing just enough humor to take some of the edge off when necessary. But you're right, it will be probably much like the Nolan-verse of what we expect from Batman right now, and what we will possibly be seeing in the new Superman versus Batman movie. Do we need more of that? I don't know. I agree with you. I'd like to see something lighter. But if you're going to go dark, Batman's a good show to go dark with.
Well, just alone that you have the younger selves of the heroes and villains, you can do many jokes out of the situation. You know what they're going to be later, so you can make a joke out of the situation before they were antagonists.
Yeah, but I think with something like the Penguin especially, he's a character that most people don't take seriously as a villain to begin with because of his odd look. So if they do something to establish him early on as being much more threatening and get away from the Danny DeVito-ness of the character from Batman Returns and those kinds of things, it would probably behoove them if they want to make him viable for getting into film someday.
Okay, now the next show on my list, I'm gonna tell you the name and read the description, and I want you who haven't read the doc, because Greg might have, to tell me what you think this show is based on. And it's called Grace Point, and the description is: when a young boy is found dead in an idyllic beach, a major police investigation gets underway in the small California seaside town where the tragedy occurs. Soon deemed a homicide, the case sparks a media frenzy which throws the boy's family into further turmoil and upends the lives of all the town's residents.
I
And
suspect there's going to be an American accent that I'm going to find unconvincing and
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
I'll say this: it's an American remake of Broadchurch, and it stars David Tennant, who from what I understand, was the lead in the British version.
Yes, yes. This
And
is
it's only,
we talked about this show a little bit on What We're Watching Weekly almost a year ago now. And I didn't know it was coming to Fox, and I'm actually really excited
It's a
because
10 episode.
I skipped ahead while you guys were talking about Gotham, and I'm really excited for this because I didn't know Michael Pena was on board with this either.
Yeah.
And when I had heard it was coming to Fox or it was coming to America, I didn't know it was going to be California because I started picturing, okay, where could it be? I was picturing more like Maine, like with how
Maine
Yeah.
definitely seems like it would have the right atmosphere for it.
Or Oregon.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's going to be Thursdays at 9 o'clock, and from what they said, it's a 10-episode miniseries.
And that's what Broadchurch was. It was a mini series. It
Is that
wasn't. They're doing another run of Broadchurch soon, but it's going to be like how this is called Grace Point,
Mhm.
where it's going to be like, in theory, it's going to be like there's going to be a spiritual successor to it, but it's not going to be like Broadchurch season 2. Another murder.
I think it's probably going to be closer to like a second season of True Detective, where it's, we've got the idea there was a first season. The first season was about this. Now this next season is going to be about something else, but it's going to be similar tone.
Greg,
Yeah.
do you know if the original Broadchurch is available to view on Hulu?
I don't think it's on Hulu. I don't think it's on Netflix.
Okay.
Actually, wait. It might be on Hulu. It very well could be on Hulu. But it is one of those, by hook or by crook, find it. It is good.
Okay. Now I want to get your guys' opinion as to what do you think that basically, from what I gathered, it seems like David Tennant is playing the same character, but in the American version, obviously with an American accent. Or I should say an Americanized version of the same character.
It's going to be an interesting story for me still. I mean, it's going to be... I don't know, because they're going to have to change it up, because otherwise I'm going to be sitting there going, I know who did it. I know who did it. I'm trying to avoid spoilers here, because I don't want to be like, yeah, it was him.
There is a trailer.
Yeah, and here's the thing: is that I watched the Broadchurch when it played on BBC America. I very much enjoyed the show, although it was a very bleak, dark, hard to get through show. It's not a happy story. But as I had understood it, is that when it came to America, they were going to change a lot of stuff up. When I watched the trailer is beat for beat. No offense, Beatmaster. What I remember from the miniseries from the BBC. It seemed so much the same. I don't know really if they are changing it at all or if they're just retelling the same thing over here. Maybe they'll change who did it at the end. Maybe we'll get a twist ending compared to what we had before. But for the most part, I was watching that and I'm like, I remember this. I remember this. I remember this. Except all these people are American. This seems just like what I've already watched.
Yeah.
Then they should have let David Tennant keep his British accent.
Well, which there is that whole thing of, and this is where we're getting into what we're watching weekly territory and spoilers territory, where he does leave at the end, where when they solve the case, in theory retire, but at the same, but then it's like I wouldn't think he would retire to fly over to America. To fly over to America
and solve the exact same case again.
Yeah, because it would almost be like he would do, like he would that would happen, and then he'd be like, "It's you, you're
right?
Arrested. Come on." No.
Well,
Let's check this out. Come on.
But do you think? No, we talked about this earlier. A 10-episode series that CW is doing, and I appreciate the fact that they're doing something as a miniseries. If this show takes off for Fox, do you think they would then try to continue with his character here, and maybe have him go on to something else or do other things? Would they continue to call it Grace Point? I guess is part of the question too. But would they try to renew his contract and get him to go for another series, another run?
I think with how they have the two people on here, they got announced David Tennant and Michael Pena, both two great actors. I don't see, and I could be wrong, but I see them going more towards Michael Pena. And they go like, and I'm leaning more towards on how they did it in Broadchurch, where they had because he played Deputy Inspector. Yeah, it was Deputy Inspector whatever, and then it was DS whatever, basically his under took over.
Right.
Would be Michael Pena.
Yeah, and it's not like Tennant hasn't walked away from a pretty lucrative role before,
Yeah.
so maybe it's up to him if he decides to stick it out. But I don't know. I really liked the original series. Do I want to see these series done again in America with the American accents on British actors and all that stuff? Do I want to sit through it a second time like that, or do I, if anything, want to watch the original again? I might skip this.
Yeah.
Only because I've seen it before.
Yeah, it'll definitely get the 3-4 episode viewing, and then if it's like, okay, this is the original, this is too much like the original, then it's going to drop off quickly and it'll get canceled.
But if you haven't seen the original and you've been waiting to see an Americanized show that has similar themes to the original, then check it out, because the original was really, really good.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Beat, you have anything to say about it?
Oh no, just agree.
Okay. Now, the next show on the list is one called Hieroglyph, and this is also slated to premiere sometime next year, and has a 13-episode commitment from Fox. And it's executive produced by Travis Beacham, who was the writer of Pacific Rim, which is kind of interesting. And I'll give you the log line. The world of ancient Egypt, a time of magic, pharaohs, gods, and thieves, lives again in Hieroglyph, when a dangerous scroll, the Book of Thresholds, is stolen from Egypt's most secret vault. Master thief Ambrose is plucked from prison to track it down, the perpetrator, and so it's a period piece set in ancient Egypt, and the only name actor who popped in my head was John Rhys Davies from Indiana Jones and Lord of the Rings. So I don't know what role,
Sliders,
he's going to be in it, but he's not one of the leads. He's just in it. But I think, based on what I saw, because there is a trailer and the premise, I'm thinking that it's gonna not do very well. I don't know. I know there's been other similar shows like Rome or Spartacus, but those are on like HBO and Showtime, and
They can use
much
boobs.
darker and more violent. Yeah, and they can use nudity and curse and all that stuff. So I don't know how this show is gonna do, but I have low expectations for it when it does premiere. That's all.
You wanna know how it'll do? I'll give you a basic a guidepost. You know that show on WGN? What was it? That Salem?
Salem. Oh yeah,
Salem?
the witches. Witches.
Watch that, or actually, better yet, watch the Will Wheaton Project, where they do their review of Salem.
Yeah, watch the 2 first episodes. They're okay, but from the third on, it goes downwards somewhere.
Okay, so don't expect much out of this. So if you have low expectations, then there's the chance it could exceed that. But who knows? A network doing a period piece set in ancient Egypt could be interesting, but I don't.
I'm just talking.
think-
I'm just talking like about like the boobs and stuff like that one.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
definitely.
Like
I don't know if that's a trope that they're setting up. Is you have a show set in some time in the past or in ancient times, so you have to have excessive nudity and
Well,
violence.
it's an easy way to get people from this time period to relate to something, because it's not like you can sit there and say, oh, and this is how we use the internet in this time. It's like, what's the things that we can get people to relate to? Well, violence, because violence is in every show, and if you go over the top with action, you have people's heads getting squashed like grapes, then you can get some connection to it. And the other thing is sex. Sex and violence in any time period always existed and will always help elevate a show to make it seem a little bit more adult and a little less fanfic. But as a nerd and as a group of, let's just face it, we're all nerds here, if we aren't interested in this show, and granted I haven't seen the trailer yet, but if we're not the ones that are jumping about saying, oh, I really want to see this, it doesn't bode well for the program.
I have to say something to that. First thing is a question. Pacific Rim had a screenwriter? That's news to me.
Yeah, and it wasn't Guillermo del Toro. So
There was a plot. Okay, that's news. So the other thing is with all the Star series, you got the sense it's over the top, but sometimes it's just static noise behind the good faces and actors that you don't see usually in a CBS or NBC series. You got real faces, real characters, and something different. And it's very welcome sometimes to have something B-movie like, but entertaining in the end. And
That's
you can
true.
ignore the boobies if you want to. That's just icing on the. No, wait.
Yes, and I am a jaded old man, and I have been burned by a lot of these genre shows that they've tried to do on regular TV. Fox, NBC, everybody else. It's when they make the attempt, it's usually a very sloppy attempt. But hey, if they can pull it off, if they can do what no one else has been able to outside of pay cable.
did that just pop up automatic on my window?
Yes,
no. Oh.
you muted me, and I don't know what's going on.
Sorry, I'm trying to get set up for the next one, or for the next one.
You
Okay.
wacko.
Now, the next show on the list is my most anticipated show from Fox that they have coming out sometime next year, and they don't have a commitment of episodes, and it's entitled The Last Man on Earth, starring right now, based on the premise, it only stars Will Forte, and it's directed, or the description is, the pilot was directed by Chris Miller and Philip Lord, who directed the Jump Street series of movies and the Lego Movie. They directed the pilot, and the pilot was written by Will Forte. And Will Forte plays the last human on Earth in the year 2022 who searches the entire United States for any signs of other living humans after an unknown event wipes out the entire population of Earth, including his family and the employees at the bank where he worked. And I won't spoil anything. Just go and watch the 4-minute trailer, and you'll really be intrigued.
Here, hold on. Here,
Yeah.
why not just let's watch the trailer?
Sure, we could if you want to.
I sort of was. I didn't know what happened, but it was just playing, and I had to switch
Oh.
over to it.
Did you really want to?
Well,
or-
yeah, I figured here we'll watch
Sure.
because it's a really great trailer.
Yeah, it is really good. So
Are we sure it's on screen?
I don't see it, or
It should be.
I don't see it yet.
You have to hit the little YouTube icon over on the left, so I don't know if that's going to work for playback or not.
Oh, here it is. And then we each have to play it on our own. Oh, I see that it is
No,
playing.
it should
there.
be. This I messed it
says
up.
It says it's playing, but I don't. Oh, maybe. Here we go.
All right, now this is my third time seeing the opening.
Well, I wasn't seeing the opening.
Well, then you're not watching Stars, sir. I really hope that plays back when we.
It will. It
All
will.
right.
It'll play on the main video, and then
Hopefully not in
We'll have us-
triplicate like it was doing for me, but that was perfectly suited towards his style of comedy. What can it do for a season?
How is he going to carry the entire show if he's the only human that we see for a long time, if ever?
yeah.
I mean,
He
something
wrote
like
it.
Castaway. Pretty big deal that Tom Hanks carries that whole movie by himself for so long. This looks like it has a lot of potential for fun, but at some point it's going to get a little old just watching him wander around and talk through a bullhorn. But I am intrigued to see how they plan to pull that off. And he's pretty damn funny, so
I think it has potential, but it might turn people off because it's just him. They want more.
I wonder if
something else.
I honestly wonder if they're going to do something along the lines of hallucinations or something like that. Like
there could be that. There could, I mean, it's the last man on Earth, but
Flashpoint.
Say there's no women.
Beatmaster and I have both read some of Why the Last Man, and there is potential to take that title and just use it as a misnomer.
So that's what's anticipated for me, so at least for that show. Now the next one is entitled Mulaney, and obviously it stars John Mulaney, and the show is, as described, it centers around John Mulaney, a comedian living in New York City with his roommates, played by Nassim Pedrad, a personal trainer, and Seton Smith, his other roommate, and another comedian. John is often given advice by his neighbor, Oscar, played by Elliot Gould, and annoyed by his friend, Andre, played by Zach Perlman. John's life changes when he is hired as a writer for Lou Cannon, played by Martin Short, a legendary comedian and game show host. And as I said, it stars Elliot Gould, John Mulaney, Martin Short, Nassim Pedrad, Seton Smith, and Zach Perlman. And it's going to premiere in the fall on Sundays at 9:30, taking the American Dad time slot. And it's 16 episode commitment, and there is a trailer for it.
Actually, it hasn't been the American Dad time slot for a little while. American Dad kind of moved up earlier in the night, I think. It went Bob's Burgers and American Dad, and then Simpsons and Family Guy, and then it went to Cosmos. So now the Family Guy's moving back to 9.
Well,
the 9:30 slot, which hasn't been anything for a while.
Pre-Cosmos, it was American Dad.
Yes. And what a weird thing to go from animation show about a comedian.
Yeah. But looking at that, though, you have SNL writer who did a lot of great stuff, wrote and created Stefan, one of the great characters, another great actress on SNL with Nassim Pedrad.
That's a get to me. And Nassim is not only a great comedian, but she is, still one of the lead of the female cast on SNL. And while they've got so many cast members now that they can definitely afford to give them some time off during the week, that's still a pretty big deal because she hasn't left the show as far as I know.
Yeah, and then Martin Short, who's a legend from SNL and SCTV and
from
countless other things.
I'm just hoping this doesn't turn out to be this season's Dads.
We all hope it doesn't turn out to be this season's Dads, because I don't want to ever see a Dads again.
Because it's
hold on. I don't see where it says Seth MacFarlane anywhere on there. Now,
That's
with all due respect to Seth MacFarlane,
Why?
I don't see him associated with this in any way.
that's true. So I wonder if because it has John Mulaney and Nassim Pedrad, if it's produced in any way by Lorne Michaels.
But with Broadway Video,
Yeah,
it very well could be.
I didn't look, but now that I think about it, it could be.
Here, do you want to do the next one, and I will get back to you on
Oh,
that?
sure. The next one is a show entitled Red Band Society, and it's based off of I think, a Spanish telenovela, and the logline is the series is a dark dramedy focusing on a group of teenagers living together as patients in the hospital's pediatric ward. And that means, from what I gathered, it means their entire lives are in this pediatric ward. That means they go to school, they're friends with each other, everything. And it stars as playing the nurse to these kids. I don't know if you're familiar with the actress Octavia Spencer, Academy Award-winning actress from the movie The Help. She's in it, and it premieres. It's Wednesdays at 9 p.m. this fall and it has 13 episodes. And I don't think it has a trailer, or maybe it does, but you can check the link down below or on the doc to see. Oh, and Greg just said that Mulaney is a Broadway video
Yeah,
production.
the production companies on it are 3X or 3 Arts Entertainment, which does Parks and Rec. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. There's a few other ones I'm blanking on.
Okay,
Broadway Video and Universal Television.
awesome. So I think it
And the
has
executive
potential.
producer is Lorne Michaels.
So it has potential.
Yeah, so it should be good, and it's directed by Andy Ackerman.
Interesting. So anybody have anything to say about the Red Band?
Sorry. Did you say the air date, the start date for?
Yeah. What? Which one?
For Mulaney. Did you say?
Yeah,
when
I
it
said
was?
it's Sundays at 9:30, and I
No,
said that
but
it's.
when it's starting.
Oh no, there's no. Is there an air date for it?
It says original airing September 28th, according to Wikipedia.
I guess that's when Animation Domination must start as well.
Yeah.
Season of that. And then, did anybody have any comments about Red Band Society, other than it's teenagers and kids living in the pediatric ward of a hospital?
I'm seeing a lot of people like Octavia Spencer, like people from The Help, from that movie from The Help, getting out into the TV, because there's another movie from or there's another TV show in ABC, I think, that has an actress who is also in The Help coming out in here too, that I'm noticing.
Gotcha.
But it's great to see stuff like this.
Okay. Since we have nothing further to talk about it, because I think it's sort of self-explanatory, here's the next show, which is a reality series premiering. It says Tuesdays at 8 p.m. and there's no set amount of episodes. It's a reality series entitled Utopia, based on a Dutch show of the same name. 15 pioneering Americans leave their everyday lives and move into an isolated, undeveloped location for an entire year, where they are challenged to create their own civilization from scratch. It doesn't say if the object is for them to get along peacefully and it to be a utopia. They're just put there for an entire year and see what happens. I don't know what resources they're given or anything like that, and I don't think there's a trailer. Or actually, no, there is, because I saw a brief trailer on TV recently for it, so it's in the fall on Tuesdays at 8. Yeah.
This is that whole I've seen commercials for this whole last fall or fall winter, and I'm like, no one cares.
Well, they're gonna have to air. They're gonna probably. Well, the people were there for a year. They shot it, so they're just gonna burn off all the episodes, I would imagine, unless it gets amazing ratings.
Does Fox still have a reality show channel? I thought they had one for a little while, but it might have only been on Dish as opposed to on cable.
I know. I don't know. I know they had the channel. I don't know if it's still going.
I think it got rebranded.
Okay, well, that's probably for the best. Fox reality shows just always seem to. I mean, other than their competition shows, because when you've got American Idol, and you've got So You Think You Can Dance.
MasterChef.
Obviously, MasterChef, absolutely. This kind of show always seems to go in the other direction for them. This and their I Want to Marry Harry versus Joe Millionaire, those kind of things. It seems like they go to something that's got really mass appeal and then to something that's lowest common denominator. I question where this will fall on that spectrum. It sounds a little too much like it's trying to be Survivor, and Survivor is somehow still going strong. Do we need another one?
Who knows? They don't specify anything in the description that I read about them voting people off, but I don't know how it's going to play out if they just give them a finite amount of resources and then see where they can go for a
because
whole...
probably what it was is they were going for at first just throw them out there and let's see what happens, and then they're like let's throw let's throw little monkey wrenches out into the thing and we'll steal their resources or whatever, and let's see what happens. I don't know. I'm not a reality TV show producer.
Is this going to be... Well, this ties into the next show, what I'm about to say, but is this M. Night Shyamalan's The Village, the show? If you've ever seen that movie.
Honestly, I would rather talk about an M. Night Shyamalan TV show than Utopia anymore.
Guess what? You're in luck, because the next show, The Wayward...
Oh, I didn't see that twist coming.
Wayward Pines. M. Night Shyamalan is an executive producer, and he directed the pilot based on the novel Pines by Blake Crouch. The series, evocative of Twin Peaks, stars Matt Dillon as a Secret Service agent investigating the disappearance of 2 federal agents in a mysterious small Idaho town. Developed by Chad Hogue, it will be broadcast as a mid-season replacement, in quotes, event series. And it stars Matt Dillon, Academy Award winner Melissa Leo, Juliette Lewis, Terrence Howard, and Toby Jones. And it premieres sometime next year, and it has 10 episodes. And Jay, on the trailer, I'm kind of hesitant. Do show star power, it gets me intrigued.
Yeah, it's one of those things you have.
So
like you got M. Night Shyamalan, who did a lot of great, but has done a lot of crap recently. But then you got the star power, the Twin Peaks, the star power. It's like, how do you weigh, like, what outweighs what here?
If you want to perk my ears up, using the term Twin Peaks does so. But if you want to make me judge you in a harsh light, using the term Twin Peaks is going to do that too. Because that is something that I would love to see more shows aspire to. Because I loved Twin Peaks. I was more than a little Twin Peaks obsessive for a long period of my life, and I think I just now have gotten over where I don't need to wear the patch anymore. But you can't just say, oh, this show's like Twin Peaks unless it's really like Twin Peaks. And to be like Twin Peaks, it has to be unlike Twin Peaks. It can't just copy off what it did. It has to create its own mythos. It has to create its own story. But it has to have the quirkiness, the fun, the depth, the mystery, the characters. All of that stuff has to add up. And it takes a lot to be at a level that David Lynch was and Mark Frost was at that point in time. So I will check this pilot out. I am wary, but they have the opportunity to try and impress me. Did Evan freeze?
No idea.
Yeah, he's...
Beatmaster, do you got anything you want to say about this?
It takes a David Lynch to do David Lynch.
That word.
Evan going once.
Yeah, I'm not seeing movement on his end.
All right, I will take his last one since I'm not. Yeah, I'm not seeing movement on his last, and of course my video drops as I do this.
Maybe he just went into the red room. The Black Lodge.
All right. So his last comedy, wrapping up the Fox new shows, is titled Weird Loners, and the description is Jake Kasdan directed the pilot of four relationship-phobic people are unexpectedly thrust onto one another's lives. Is this not a porn? What? Thrust into one another's lives and form an unlikely bond in a townhouse in Queens, New York. This is starring Zachary Knighton, who you know from Happy Endings, Flash Forward, and Parenthood. There's no time slot, but it's premiered sometime in 2015, and you have 6 episodes, and there is a link in the trailer. And welcome back, Evan.
Oh, wow. Now we've got 2 Evans frozen.
Double complete frozen Evan.
I don't think one of them's the real Evan. I think that's Bob.
No, the second Evan is moving. His slides change.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Yeah, now I see him chucking around. Can you hear us?
Evan. So, Evan, what can you add with about weird loners? That's your cue to talk.
Let's not pick on Evan because he can't hear us. He's getting there. Weird Loners. I was a little distracted. That's the one with.
It's got Zachary Knight. It sounds like it's got, at least for me, it's got some star power behind it with Zachary Knighton. So with some of the guys, I liked him in Happy Endings, and I liked him on Parenthood, and I'm hoping to see more from him on this last season of Parenthood, so, so I don't know how this is going to affect seeing him. Like, I'd rather see him on this if this is going to last longer, with, start with 6 episodes, but then, hopefully take off, and be, like, super successful. But, I don't know how to say this because I didn't do the research on it. And I didn't watch the trailer for it because I didn't see it pop up.
Because it was a Fox show.
Well, yeah, it was a Fox show, and I had NBC or ABC and CW. But
I don't
yeah,
know.
I mean,
it's potentially good. I mean, I will say that Zachary Knighton was the flattest character for me on Happy Endings, but that's in a comparison to 5 other actors who really brought an A game to it. So what he might be able to do with the show and what his adjoining cast might be able to bring to it.
That's like that's when you're comparing. That's when you're saying the flattest person to 5 people who are phenomenal character, like just had great characters. I mean, someone had to be flat.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's like saying Bud Abbott isn't a very good comedian next to Lou Costello. It's like, no, you need Abbott to make Costello work. So that could be the case with this. And we'll have to see. But I don't know. I don't recognize any of the rest of the cast. It's a matter of what they put together as an ensemble. It's also a sitcom style show on Fox, and those always have me kind of, yeah, I'll wait and see if something really good comes of it. I'm not jumping up and down that I have to see this.
Yep. All right. Evan, you got any last words, or shall we move on?
We can hear you now.
Okay. I think we can move on. Sorry that it took as long as it did, but there were so many shows. So, as I said before, the one that I am most excited for and hope does the best is Last Man on Earth, and the one that I have low expectations for is Hieroglyph. But as we go from there, we'll find out. So,
Okay, hold on. So you have more expectations for the M. Night Shyamalan produced movie.
because of the
Or
stars
TV
in
show.
it and it's a limited and who's in it and it's a limited 10 episodes, so they're going to air probably all 10 regardless because it's a mini-series event, so you'll get
And
all
M.
10 of those.
M. Night Shyamalan is one of those things where it could go either way because he has done some brilliant stuff, and his name is still a draw for people enough that I think they would be interested in checking out a show versus, people like us who are just we're jaded movie people. We look at it and go, "Oh, that guy's a joke now." But maybe he does something that, especially not being crushed into a 2-hour movie where the surprise hits you at the same time every film, and it's no longer a surprise, and it's almost always going to have something to do with water. Maybe this will be the thing where it makes a difference for him. And some people, when they come back to TV, they're both humbled and they're hungry enough to get back their game.
All right. So that wraps it up with Fox. So Beatmaster, would you like to do NBC?
Sure, I go ahead with the renewed series because most of them are the same. They're still running. Like Two Broke Girls, 48 Hours, 60 Minutes are still there. Amazing Race, Big Bang Theory got 3 more seasons. No,
That's CBS.
I have.
Did we both do CBS? Oh crap! I thought you were doing NBC.
No. Oh shit. We'll
We
get
can-
through that somehow.
We can wing it. Well, I think we should at least let Beat continue with what's been renewed and
Yes,
canceled, and then
go
Corey
ahead.
can go into what's new.
I'll blow through them. Blue Bloods is back. Criminal Minds, CSI's Crime Scene Investigation, Elementary. Looked good so far I've seen. The Good Wife, Hawaii Five-0, The Mentalist, Mike and Molly are back. The Millers, Mom, NCIS Los Angeles. Person of Interest is back. Survivor, Thursday Night Football got 16 episodes, Two and a Half Men, and Undercover Boss. That's all the renewed ones. And next we got the new series coming up, Battle Creek, new show by Vince Gilligan with Josh Duhamel and Dean Winters. Sounds very much like True Detective, but I didn't see any trailers, so I couldn't really decide if it's worth something or not. But Vince Gilligan, I expect much.
And I'm actually interested in this show for the selfish reason of I live in Michigan, where Battle Creek takes place, and it's I think a 45-minute drive. Yeah, not even 45-minute drive from my door. So it's I'm hoping this will revitalize the economy. That's all you hear about from Americans. Is revitalize the local economy and yay spending and all this stuff. Like similar things like with Breaking Bad did for New Mexico. And so I'm hoping they did the same thing. Where they shoot it. They shoot it all in Battle Creek, and hey, maybe we'll get lucky and I'll hear something about them shooting stuff in Battle Creek, and I'll get bored one day and decide to drive over, and we'll be like, I'm in an episode, I'm an extra, and you just see me here in something like that, something stupid like that. But that's why I'm interested in Battle Creek. Plus, I want to get in on a Vince Gilligan episode or TV show on the ground floor. I'm still struggling to finish Breaking Bad because I'm that lazy, even though I have every way to watch it now.
Wait, Scott's back. Okay.
Yeah, next we have CSI Cyber with Patricia Arquette. So it's another great movie star going back to TV, and we know how well that went with Lawrence Fishburne and others. So don't expect too much, but it's cyber. Must be something.
Yeah,
show.
I tried to look up I was hoping that because they did a sort of backdoor pilot for it, like they usually do with CSIs, but I haven't watched CSI in the last couple of seasons. So I tried to look up the episode to see if they had it on demand, and unfortunately it wasn't there. So I did find a short trailer for it, or not even a trailer. It was just a scene of her basically walking up to some guy who was pissed off that he had to come to Las Vegas to meet up with her. And she basically dresses him down in front of all the other cops and stuff, and just like, I'm going to tell you 3 things about yourself, and you're not going to like me saying them. And she starts out with the first one, and then by the time she starts to say the second one, he's like, yeah, let's just go. So Patricia Arquette has done well on TV. I still have a love of her from even back in the third Nightmare on Elm Street movies. But we'll see how we do with yet another CSI show. Versus, a more original property, which was basically just like Ghost Whisperer anyways.
Any thoughts, Gregor, even?
I don't watch any of the CSI shows, but it intrigues me if this is like a cyber crimes unit, like they're taking down people like Edward Snowden or people behind like the Silk Road or things like online gambling rings and things of that nature.
Yeah, I'm more interested. There's a radio station I listen to out of Columbus, Ohio, where they talked about this a little bit, and I sort of echo one of the radio hosts, where it's like, and I'm not going to watch it because I've never watched any of the CSIs. That's more something where my mom watches them, and same thing with NCIS, to where it's like, I'm going to be like, she's going to come up and be like, hey, did you hear about this cyberspace? And she's not that bad. And I'm mainly saying this because I know she's within earshot, and I don't want her to be like yelling at me. I'm leery on, because again, CBS, they have a lot older demographic, and I don't want them to be. I'm leery that they're going to have something that they're going to throw in that's going to be that it's just they're going to dumb down the tech talk. You know what I mean?
Well, they get one thing that sets them apart, because it's inspired by the advanced technological work of real-life cyber psychologist. Is that a real thing? Mary Aiken. So there's some base for it in reality.
Yeah. So that does have that does make me feel good about this. Is it like they're basing it off of someone's job, like someone's real life, like someone that does this in real life, not like, I've heard about people who do these things, like that Edward Snowden guy, or whatever,
And what I got next is the Madam Secretary season. That starts with Thea Leoni and Elizabeth McCord. I didn't see the whole trailer, so I couldn't get the gist of it. But
I can tell you a little bit about it. It's got a West Wing kind of feel, maybe a what's the ABC show with the girl who's having the affair with the president? Scandal. It may be a little bit of that, although it's not like the hyper drama of Scandal. It's more of the team that's working together. She becomes the Secretary of State when the Secretary of State is killed. All of a sudden, she used to work for the CIA, and so there's political intrigue. It definitely has more of a West Wing feel, but it centers on Thea Leoni's character. Has a lot of great people in it. Bebe Neuwirth is in there. The pedigree of the show looks incredible. The people that I was watching, it's one of those trailers where they give you the entire first episode in the trailer. There are some kids who are taken hostage overseas, and she's working for the president, and she has to go sort of behind everybody's back to get them out because she finds out they're going to basically be killed, and they're just trying to disavow the whole situation because it gets out of hand. But overall, I think it's going to be strong. It might appeal more for CBS for the people who watch like The Good Wife and everything, it seems to have that kind of touch to it as well. Téa Leoni has done some incredible TV stuff, even going back to her comedy days. So I think that she's a strong choice for the role. I was impressed with it enough that I might actually watch it, even though it doesn't seem like my type of show. I think that there's something deeper there that could warrant a look-see.
Okay. Next show would be The McCarthys, a multi-camera comedy about a loud sports-crazed Boston family whose somewhat athletically challenged son, Ronnie, chosen by his father to be assistant of a high school basketball coach. And people don't react well to that. I'm not into sitcoms, so couldn't tell much
Who's
there,
it?
but seemed fun. The trailer is good.
Who's in it? If anybody knows.
I didn't recognize the lead guy, but Joey McIntyre from The New Kids on the Block is in there.
Huh. Is he?
I can't think of her name right off the top of my head. A woman who played Jackie on Roseanne, who plays Sheldon's mom on The Big Bang Theory.
Not Laurie
I can't
Metcalf.
think of her name right now, but I know
Laurie Metcalf. Excellent. Great job, Evan.
Right.
She's in there. There was a good number of the supporting cast were impressive. An actress that I liked from The Newsroom that I've been hoping would wind up getting a regular series. She showed up on some episodes of The Mini Project too. She's in there as one of the sisters. It is not totally dissimilar in feel from the what is it, The Millers on CBS right now, Gregor, that you've been watching?
That actually, I know you sort of hate to say this, but I started giving up on. But yeah.
No.
It maybe isn't as dumb comedy as that to me, but it does have that same sort of feel, that family sitcom kind of thing where everybody's got their own problem. They're all trying to deal with it, but also come together as a family. I do like that. I believe the main character is gay, which I was surprised wasn't Joey McIntyre's character, but he doesn't have to play a homosexual just because he is. But it was nice to see that as the lead, and they broach the subject, but they don't really. It's not what the show's about. He's talking about moving to Rhode Island because of the fact that it's got a thriving community that would work for him, both as far as his career stuff and his relationship stuff, and the family doesn't want him to go, and they basically, it's cute. It's a cute first episode. Again, the trailer gives the whole first episode away, but I don't know if it's got a staying power. But the people involved, Laurie Metcalf, you can't really go wrong with her on a show. You know, she is a fantastic actress, a great comedian, and I would watch just for her alone.
No, yeah. And, I mean, I don't know what this necessarily says about CBS's comedies. If they've actually, I know what this says about CBS's comedies, that they've had a stronger staying power because of the fact that they only have 2 new comedies. They've got this and the next one that Beatmaster is going to talk about with The Odd Couple.
Don't forget that I believe this is the last season of 2.5 Men, season 11 or 12, I think it is.
Well, yeah, but I mean, again, you look at every other network, and they have, like, we had an extensive list from Fox. We'll have a pretty sizable number from ABC. We'll have a pretty extensible number from NBC. We have 2 from CBS.
Other comedies, yeah.
Oh, comedy.
Other comedies.
I see. Right.
CBS is doing something right here.
Yeah.
Well, remember, we thought Mom was going to get canceled very early on. It had dismal numbers, and now it's being talked about as being the number 2 comedy of last season. That's a huge
Comedy.
jump up from where it started. That show was just not believed to go anywhere. We thought it was going to be canceled in the first couple of months.
Yeah.
So that they turned it around, and I think it is apparent that when people want to watch sitcoms, when they're thinking of, oh, I'm going to watch comedies on TV, they're tuning to CBS now, where they used to tune primarily to NBC, especially on Thursday nights. And in fact, I'm surprised still that they're doing this, that they're moving Big Bang Theory to Mondays for a period of time, then they're going to move them back to Thursdays. But to do that, to take that show and switch it to a different night, I think could potentially hurt the momentum of the show.
Yeah.
I don't know what they gain from it.
But they're bringing it back to its original day.
Yeah.
It originally premiered on Mondays after How I Met Your Mother was when it first premiered, or when it first started. That's
right. But I mean, they've done so strong on Thursdays that they've stolen a lot of the thunder away from the last couple of seasons of Thursday night shows on NBC.
Right. I think
to then move it to Mondays again. What is they're doing other than hoping to get people used to tune in on CBS on Mondays and then hopefully stick around for when they switch it back over? And okay, well, I'm used to watching CBS on Mondays, so I'll watch Two Broke Girls. I will never, ever be that guy.
Right. But I think it's interesting that they moved to Mondays, but I wish it would have been in previous seasons, only because when Community was on, it played opposite The Big Bang Theory on NBC at 8 o'clock. So I think that's
here's the thing.
also hurt Community.
You're thinking of the fan who likes both Community and Big Bang Theory, not from the network perspective. They did that because of that very reason. Now they're like, ha ha ha, Community is gone, unless it goes to Hulu.
Right.
Little comic book asterisk there. So now they're looking, what can we do for a temporary thing? Well, let's put it on Mondays because Two Broke Girls needs its help, because it doesn't have its little lead-in thing, because How I Met Your Mother's gone, How I Met Your Dad, or How I Met Your Father, or How I Met Your Dad, whatever they're going to call that show. They're not going on with that. That's why that's not a TV show we're going to be talking about here.
Right.
Sort of a deal. So that's like CBS also plays that very smart, and that's
right.
not one of the options here.
Yeah, and I guess the thought process is The Big Bang Theory is a show that's so popular people will follow it around. I hope it doesn't affect the numbers. I hope it doesn't blow up in their face, because I'm one of the people who likes The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are against it.
But
I enjoy the show. I just would like to. I don't know. It seems like Dirty Pool. It's not necessarily going to gain them anything.
Just to finish up what Corey
All
was saying.
Beatmaster, will you care to educate us on the?
Oh wait, give Evan a second.
I just
sorry,
wanted
Evan,
to
go
say
ahead.
that Corey had said that CBS only has 2 new comedies that they're introducing this coming season, and it got me thinking that they just basically canceled 2 comedies that they started not too long ago, with Friends with Better Lives and Bad Teacher, which I think only aired 2 episodes or something of Bad Teacher.
Yeah, but I always treat mid-season stuff as almost
Burning
really unlikely that that's going to succeed. I'm surprised that they're bringing back Unforgettable again, because I just never see how that show continues. But those things that come up in the mid-season, like Killer Women and stuff like that, it just never seems like they're betting on it. It's we'll throw this at the wall and see if it sticks when nothing else is there to go up against it. And when people are like, well, I'd rather watch reruns of CSI and NCIS instead, you're not surprised.
But speaking of a different network, they did a mid-season replacement with comedies, and one of them worked, which was about a boy. Different network, though.
Well, yeah. There are times where the mid-season show will work. Like, that will happen. But 9 times out of 10, it doesn't.
I think you both are being very giving, saying that About a Boy worked. I think About a Boy snuck through. I don't know that it's the show that they have a huge amount of faith in. I think they wanted to please the showrunner, and they have some belief that the show can improve. But when you consider that About a Boy barely hung on, and the show that followed it up didn't,
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like, okay, yeah, we have the ability to save one. You know, let's throw our weight into this one, and maybe it will get better numbers if it's got some better shows around it. But it was also in a spot that was already not working for NBC at all. When you look at the Michael J. Fox show and Sean Saves the World, so to have one of those four survive it, good for that. But that's like saying that if you've got a pen full of sickly chickens and the one was just strong enough to eat all the feed before the other ones did and they all fell over dead, that one sickly chicken is still not something you want to throw on your dinner plate.
All right. Speaking of sickly chickens, I don't know where I was going with that analogy.
I don't know where I came up with it either.
Beatmaster, the last comedy, The Odd Couple. What is that about?
It's about Matthew Perry coming back to TV because his movie career worked that well, and he's doing the Walter Matthau and what's the other's name? They redo the movie as a series, as I understand it, of the Odd Couple coming together after they had a divorce, both together.
The Odd Couple has been a TV series before. Was a very popular series.
Yeah.
Based off of the movie as well.
And the
But Jack Klugman and I can't remember Felix's real name. Oh, that's too bad. I loved him too. But yeah, so The Odd Couple is one of those things that seems to come up a lot. Like it's just one of those tropes that they keep going back to. In fact, almost any buddy show is always compared to The Odd Couple. But Matthew Perry has been trying to get shows to work for a number of years. I mean, you're right. He had his film stuff that didn't seem to take off, and then he did the God.
I know what show you're thinking of on NBC.
Go on.
Not 30 Rock,
Okay.
but Studio
Go on.
60 on the Sunset Strip.
Oh, that's right.
And then he did Mr. Sunshine at ABC. Then he did Go On NBC. In fact, one of the actresses that was on that show with him was supposed to be on The Odd Couple in a recurring role, but then she and the other lead actress have both left over creative differences. But the role that she left was written for her to have her on the show, so that's kind of a big deal. But it's Matthew Perry, who I personally have always liked. Even in the shows that haven't been that successful, I liked him, and I often like the shows.
Yeah.
And Thomas Lennon, who is from the state and can't seem to ever win an episode of At Midnight.
Even though he's the executive producer of At Midnight.
Even though he's the producer, who I also love, is one of those terrific character actors and writers and comedians, and I will never get tired of seeing him. So I had imagined that Matthew Perry would be the uptight role, the Felix in this, but no, he's playing the Oscar character, who's the slob, and that works when you've got Thomas Lennon to play against. But they haven't put a trailer out for it. I think it's still kind of they've ordered episodes, but it's still trying to get its stuff together.
Yeah.
So I was kind of just passing by it. I'm like, okay, I know about the show, but there's nothing to see on it yet. You just hope that with the pedigree of the two lead actors and the fact that it's called The Odd Couple, that hopefully they'll do this one right.
The whole
What do you
fall
think about
season
it?
was on.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Beatmaster.
The whole fall season was on YouTube, except for Battle Creek and The Odd Couple. The two ones sounded most interesting of them all, so I was a little stuck there. But it sounds good enough. I'm not a Matthew Perry fan. You are, but he has skills. Can't deny that.
Yep, he's got a fan base. He's definitely got his fans, and he's done some really good comedy work before. But it's like they keep putting Jennifer Aniston in movies, and I have yet to see a reason why she is as popular as she is for the success that her films have. You know, if it wasn't for the fact that I see Rachel, Ross, Joey, Chandler, Phoebe, and Monica on TV in reruns every day and every night, they would probably go from the collective consciousness of people, because since then, strangely enough, episodes is the only thing that people talk about as being a success, and that's Joey playing basically himself in a comedic way. But none of the other shows that people have done or their films have gone on to any great things. And I'm not saying that I haven't enjoyed some of them. I really like Cougar Town, but it's not like it's done great numbers.
Yeah. No, yeah. So thank you, Beatmaster, for doing CBS.
Hold on.
He's not done.
Yeah, that's right. Drama. Sorry.
Make it short. NCIS New Orleans, surprisingly, could be something good because it features Scott Bakula in the Big Easy, and they have some army resource, so the whole thing gets another dimension as you would have in a big city, and the others just. So I would be even interested in this one.
Bakula is definitely a call out for me. I want to see him succeed on a show, and he is one of those guys that takes over, from franchises and stuff. And his Star Trek was commonly referred to as the lowest Star Trek, but I almost put that on the network more, and I can't say that I had any love for Voyager. This looks pretty good. CCH Pounder is in it. She, to me, played one of the incredibly strong characters on The Shield throughout the entire series. So when you had those two together, I have not been a NCIS fan. I was never a JAG fan, and that's what these all kind of go back to. But you're right. This has at least something that sets it a little more apart than the other ones. So hopefully this gets to stand on its own and be a better show, or be a different show. I'd rather see it be a different show than whatever it is.
Then the other possible surprise winner could be Scorpion, inspired by a true story, a high-octane drama about eccentric genius Walter O'Brien, played by Ellis Gable. His team of brilliant misfits who comprise the last line defense against complex high-tech threats of modern age. Intelligence comes to mind, and the same effect to the viewers.
Yeah, Intelligence. I don't disagree with you. For me, it feels a little bit more like Leverage, which is one of my favorite shows, because that kind of group that they have, it's not. Intelligence was basically a partner thing with the whole government thing behind them. This is more of a team of misfits that each have their own very special skills. So it's a bit Big Bang Theory with the high-octane adventure stuff, but nobody in it is an action star. There's action in it, and they're involved in the action, but they're not like the big heroes. They're not Sawyer from Lost, looking all studly and being a sex machine with a computer chip in his brain to boot. It's like, okay, so you take the perfect guy, and then you just twist it up a little bit more, so like even us nerds have to be jealous of him now. Besides his looks, he suddenly got brain power. Great. Just call me Freckles, you beautiful, beautiful man.
It sounds like that these characters would take on, say, the Michael Emerson character from Person of Interest as like somebody that they would try to take down. That's what it seems to me. Like they would go take on Person of Interest as somebody that they're going after in their series.
Yeah, you guys already said that you don't watch CSI, but if you did, especially the Las Vegas one, there were episodes that were based around the lab rats, And those episodes to me always stood out as some of my favorite ones. One, they were funnier, and two, those characters just really they did something different than what the regular CSIs did. The CSIs just went out there and investigated evidence, and that's good. That's key to the show. That's what the show's about. But the Lab Rats were a lot of fun, and they each had their own special skills and their own special ways of looking at things to solve the crimes. And Gil Grissom, the original CSI lead, had that too because he was the bug guy, the entomology stuff. This to me is like the Lab Rats get their own show, or maybe the girl who does the tech stuff on NCIS. And yeah, your person of interest guy, the background people moving to the foreground. They do have the one cop or government guy who is in charge of them, you know, your T-1000 dude. But beyond that, it really is, it's more like Numbers. If Numbers was all about the main guy from the show as opposed to also his cool cop brother that was part of it too. If it was just the main guy and the Peter McNichol character, then that's probably closer to what this is. I really think that from the CBS lineup, and I apologize, Beatmaster, that I keep talking over you on this stuff. It's because that I thought I was doing CBS. This was the show that I was probably the most into.
Oh, I'm thankful. I won't mind. Just talk. Makes my job easier here. But yes, I could see it, but I see the potential being a dot like intelligence, so it's split 50-50 for me. And the last one would be Stalker. Stars Maggie Q and Dylan McDermott. A psychological thriller about detectives who investigate stalking incidents, including voyeurism, cyber harassment, cyber, and romantic fixation for the street assessment of the unit of the LAPD. It sounds like more of the same for like NCIS, CIS, but stalkerish. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, and you're right. Now this is something to take note of too. Is that Stalker has a bunch of tech back stuff to it, you know, and we're thinking cyber stalking, but what they really do in the trailer, bless you, is they emphasize people who are physically stalking other people. But if there is that cyber stalking aspect of it, then there's that. There is Scorpion, which we just talked about, which is very tech heavy, and then there is the new CSI Cyber. So that is three things going tech. Now, obviously, tech is what a lot of people are talking about these days. But yeah, you know, and we did just have Intelligence last season, which was their Chuck. But
they still have Person of Interest.
And they still have Person of Interest. So yeah, so CBS is not afraid to take their concept that they have that's working for them on one show and to spread it out to another half dozen other shows and just bleed it dry. You know, that's why every show is about lawyers, doctors, cops, you know, or government people. And now we've got cyber this, cyber that, cyber everything. Don't you want to tweet me? What I did see set this one apart a little bit, other than the fact that Dylan McDermott seems like he's just playing the same character he played in Hostages, brought over to this. Work with what you got, CBS. Maggie Q's character goes at the end of this trailer and basically just beats down one of the stalkers and threatens him and says, you know, yeah, you can go to the cops, but who are they going to believe, you or me? They always believe me. So it's a vigilante justice more than a cop thing. And she is, of course, someone who's been a stalk victim before herself. Reminded me a little bit of Sidney Prescott in the Scream movies, especially by Scream 3. So it might be a little bit different, but I other than the fact that it's got the masks and stuff, which reminded me of The Following a little bit, they don't have the one serial killer that they're following for season after season after season, but it does seem like it's got that kind of feel of the show of like, it's very intense. There are guys stalking other guys, at least, so it's not always the girl being stalked by a dude, but there were a few of those in this one.
That scene you mentioned was good or bad. I can't say because it shows like she is a victim, but she is portrayed as somebody who takes opportunity in that situation against the man, and that reinforces some negative connotations you have usually with rape and other such things. I wasn't sure how that plays out. I'm a little mixed on that one.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem that she is empowered to the point where she becomes sort of the bully herself, but the bully to protect other people, which is kind of like if you go back to a show like The Enforcer, which I was a big fan of, and now this being turned into a movie with Denzel Washington, another beautiful, beautiful man, then I'm okay with that just to see how it goes. But I want a good guy to be a good guy. You know, I don't mind a good guy who walks the line a little bit. That's why I really like shows like Justified and Banshee, but I want them to be a good guy, and in the trailer she appears to be a good person. It's just how well the show does beyond that. There was some creepy stuff in the show because stalkers are creepy. This is something that can really prey on people's fears in the today as much as cybercrime does. I think this one even more. When you feel like you're being watched and you're being victimized and there's nobody who will help you because stalker laws are really not very good at protecting people still, that can be a pretty powerful thing to build on for a show. It's execution only at this point.
All right. So is that all for CBS? I was trying to get caught up with NBC because you guys both did CBS, so I wanted to be, because I don't know who's going to do NBC now, so I wanted to get.
One quick mention: Extant is a summer series, but it's worth mentioning with Halle Berry in it. Science fiction series that looked like science fiction, so sci-fi comes nowhere close to that. And well, I hope it does better than Under the Dome, which is also coming back.
Oh, that's the one with Halle Berry, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. There's Mosquito. I missed it.
Wait.
Dang it, where'd it go?
Isn't the
Alright, never mind.
accident where she comes back from having been in space and is now pregnant or something weird like that?
Spoiler.
You don't seem to understand how American television works, Beatmaster. They tell us this in the trailers. It's not a surprise for us because they think we're too dumb to just get into the concept of a show without being told everything that's going to happen first. It's like that with movies, too. I can't tell you how great it is to have my trailers think for me.
Yeah.
Well, Variety is a little different. They say her experiences lead to events that ultimately will change the course of human history.
Yes, but that would take reading.
Better reading than mine.
Yeah.
All right. So here I will freaking kill this mosquito that's trying to get in my mouth. Gosh. All right. So I'm.
But you drink all that juice and stuff. That they love that.
Yeah, it was delicious juice, but still.
And I can help you with NBC a little bit, Greg, because I have seen most of these trailers.
Okay, yeah. So here I'll actually dive into ABC if you want to do a little bit more research.
I'm ready to go on NBC. There's only like 5 shows that are coming out.
All right. Yeah, actually that works because there are some NBC comedies that actually I'm really excited for because of who's involved with them. And I'm like, yay! It's like The Office multiplied. So here, Corey, take it away with NBC.
All right, so if you want to get to the comedies, I guess there are 2 to 3 that are coming out. There's one that I think is a comedy drama that might be a little bit off from the rest, but the first one that we'll look at is called Marry Me. Marry Me is a comedy coming out with Casey Wilson, who is from Happy Endings, and probably my favorite part of the show, and Ken Reno, who is also from the state, but is on Children's Hospital and apparently Eastbound and Down, but since I've not seen that show, I don't know.
He's on Party Down.
and Party Down, which is to me a much better thing to quote than Eastbound and Down. But they are a couple that, from what I remember of the trailer, they have been together for a little while. He is finally going to pop the question and ask her to marry him, and as he's trying to do so, she comes out, and it's that sitcom tropic thing of like, when are you going to ask me to marry you? I can't handle all this waiting. He's kneeling behind her with the ring out and stuff, and she's just like looking into space in front of him, yelling about the fact that he's not at the same place where she is in a relationship, and can he just, get over it and grow up, or should she just move on? And the rest of the trailer is basically about them trying to recreate the thing so that they can just get past it and continue a relationship. And just things going wrong again. His family's involved, and she says a bunch of stuff about them. As far as the humor, it's not anything new. It's not anything that I can say that I would really be like, I have to see this, if it wasn't for the two leads. The two leads are a good selling point. But maybe the only selling point so far.
Yeah. No, yeah, I've seen a lot of or actually a few of the comedy stuff about a few of them, like A to Z, and I think that one are on Hulu already. Like they already put the shows on there. I'm like, cool, but then that usually backfires as well. Like they're already.
Wait, the full pilot for it is on Hulu?
No, they show they already have them, and then they'll put clips on Hulu.
Oh, okay. To get people ready for when the series starts.
Yeah.
To get people excited about it. But then that's the thing, is like if you play the whole trailer and it's basically the entirety of the first episode in that trailer, why do I need to watch the first episode? So if I come in for the second episode, your viewership is already down because everyone's going to be saying, oh, well, the first episode didn't do very well. It's probably going to get canceled. And then people who are going to try it out go, oh, well, then maybe I shouldn't even try to invest in it. It's like buying a comic book series in the second issue but skipping the first one because they printed the whole thing in Spider-Man. Oh, sorry, Marvel. I didn't realize I was talking about you. But anyway, let's move on to A to Z, because A to Z is doing something that I think CBS probably should have done, and that is giving us the actress who wound up playing the mom in How I Met Your Mother, Christian Milioti, in the lead role, and I forget who the guy is. Mad Men's Ben Feldman, and Questing for True Love, and basically their relationship trying to get together. It is one of those. It feels like a rom-com movie that I've seen, probably starring John Cusack. One of those things where, oh, we should be together, but we shouldn't be together. You thought it was me, but it wasn't really me, kind of thing. But she is just so great.
Yeah.
I was totally drawn into this trailer just to watch her, and it is a very romantic-heavy thing, more than the Marry Me one. This really felt like it is a budding romance, and it felt much akin to what you saw in the first episode of How I Met Your Mother, where there did seem to be that romance happening between Ted and Robin, but they just ruined it because they had to deal with the premise of the show and the title of the show for the next 7 seasons. This hopefully doesn't go down the convoluted, screwed-up road. I have no problem watching a happy couple on TV. I prefer that because in some cases that's very different from what the rest of TV is giving us. They want to show you the struggles of making a relationship work. There are always struggles in every relationship. I have a great relationship with my wife. It doesn't mean we don't have problems or arguments or spats. We don't yell, but we kid around and we poke at each other. And I think that can make for some good comedy if it's well written and well acted. And this trailer definitely got me to say I might watch an NBC comedy this season.
Right, and what I like about it from what I saw is it doesn't look like it's a show like the currently airing NBC sitcom Undateables, which it's not. This show A to Z is not shot on like sound stages where they only have the house and the bar, like Undateable, those two sets.
Right.
And that's it. Which is what I like. Which is How I Met Your Mother. Yeah, with How I Met Your Mother style, where they do, well, multiple locations, even though they're on the back lot, but they do a single camera. So I think it's not like a multi-camera sitcom like Undateables or Big Bang Theory. So
Yeah, it feels like a much bigger show.
right. So I
on a
think
Big Bang Theory, you can see they've introduced more sets over time. But
right.
when it started out, it was like 1 or 2, and now
Right.
they've got like everybody else's apartments and homes and stuff. This feels like you're exploring a city
like practical
in the background of the rest of it. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. That's a good point.
So I'm glad that has potential, and the lead actress too excites me. So I have high hopes for this.
No, yeah, definitely. With that link you had put in the group chat for did they mention any other comedies?
The only other thing that to me is somewhat of a comedy is Bad Judge,
Okay.
which is. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. So here I will post in for you to look at if the copy will come up. Is from the Variety link, the pilot season thing that Beatmaster had given us. This is what I was referring to. And I'll just go right up here. Mission Control. This is from Universal Television. This is Studio Universal Television. Gary Sanchez Productions. This is what has me worried. Is it's the executive producer and the writer of the pilot, David Hornsby, whose last thing that he was involved in was How to Be a Gentleman on CBS, I believe it was.
Oh yeah.
That didn't go well, but here's where I have renewed hope. Also on as an executive producer, Will Ferrell and Adam McKay.
Adam McKay, the new writer of Ant-Man.
Is he
Yes.
right?
Yeah, he's now been signed on to do.
All right, nice.
For Ant-Man.
And the log line for this, very simply, Houston, we have a problem. Durr.
What? So it's about Mission Control. When is it set?
I don't know. This is I'm just going off of the Variety page.
Huh.
And that's the thing, is that these are shows that I don't think we have anything viewable about them yet. So they're very kind of loose bones. So I didn't really concentrate on them so much.
Yeah.
But you're right. There are a few shows that are listed here, which gives more weight to NBC having a lot of shows that it needed to replace. They're just, if you look at the calendar that I had sent out initially of the fall TV schedule, I don't think any of these shows were on it. So I think they might be mid-seasons or late seasons.
They were mentioned in the upfronts because the next one, Mr. Robinson, which stars Craig Robinson from The Office. When he was on the Tonight Show, he was mentioned. They mentioned this at about the upfronts, and this is Studios Universal Television, 3 Arts Entertainment. No one in here in the the executive producers, writers, directors that I can really think of. The big thing in here is Craig Robinson as starring, and then the fact that it's a 3 Arts Entertainment and as studio, and the logline is as lead singer and keyboard of a rock band. Craig Robinson from The Office knows a thing or two about working the crowd, but his day job is where he really makes the grade. And then the other one.
So wait, he's a teacher?
Yeah, I think I remember seeing something about this, and it was kind of like a Rock of Ages feel.
Yeah, or you mean School of Rock?
School of Rock.
School of Rock, yeah, not Rock of Ages.
Yeah.
That would be a very different film.
Wait, going back to the previous show, I just noticed looking at that list that Mission Control is listed as a comedy, which sounds interesting based on what the what the log line of it is. So.
Well, yeah, because look at who's involved with it: David Hornsby, Will Ferrell, Adam McKay.
Oh, that's right. You did say that, but
Yeah.
so I'm curious to
Comedy
see
writer,
now
well,
that it's a
David Hornsby is a comedy drama writer. He can write drama.
now that it's a comedy, or now that I know it's a comedy, it
Yeah.
intrigues me
And
only
then-
to see what it really is.
Yeah.
Because
And then the other one that I'm excited for, because I noticed at first, who stars in it, is the fourth one in here, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. And the logline is after 15 years of living in a cult, the unbreakable and wide-eyed Kimmy, played by Ellie Kemper of The Office, is rescued along with 4 other women, causing a national sensation that culminates with an appearance on the Today Show. And then I looked at the executive producers, and one of the executive producers and showrunner and writer of the pilot is Tina Fey.
Yes.
right.
So I'm like, okay, that's
Right.
pretty cool.
And Ellie Kemper is another one of those actresses that I never seem to tire of seeing. She is just a joy on screen. I loved her character in The Office. I've loved her in all the different stuff I've seen her in. Her couple of guest appearances on the Mindy Project, where she was a little bit more of a roughhouser or Weiler. She was great on that. I could give this a shot. And Tina Fey, you cannot find me a better writer. So yeah, I will be looking forward to this one as well.
And the weird thing here is they don't have... Variety doesn't have Constantine on their list. So
Wait, are you skipping the comedy One Big Happy?
well, One Big Happy is Ellen's involved with that.
Oh,
Didn't get Constantine delayed to February or something like that?
It's on that schedule that I sent out. It
because
is.
NBC is the only network right now that has fall premiere dates for their shows. That release their fall dates of when shows are premiering. So
It's going to be on Fridays at 10 o'clock after Grimm, so you know that they've got a lot of faith in it.
So does that mean that that Hannibal will have a short third season, or it'll is pushed back till the early next year for the start of the third season of Hannibal?
I think that is what it means. I think Hannibal will be maybe we'll do half a season of Constantine and then a half season of Hannibal, which I'm not against, but tonally slightly different. Constantine definitely makes a better matching with Grimm than with Hannibal, so I probably would expect that they replace both those shows on Friday nights with something else. But on the fall preview schedule that is on TVGuide.com, Constantine is listed on NBC for the fall. So I suppose it's there. And it is on the Entertainment Inside ETV link that I put in. The trailer is there.
yeah. So Corey, you want to talk about some of the dramas?
Yeah. Well, I started out talking about Bad Judge, which looks like it's supposed to be halfway between a comedy and a drama. It is starring Kate Walsh, who has been fantastic on Fargo this season, in the midst of an incredible cast overall anyways. I like Kate Walsh. Everything that I see her in, and I watched Grey's Anatomy for a while when it first started, and I liked her character on that, and then I tried to watch her other series, and she was fine, but the rest of the show just dragged me down. But that was when I was ready to give up on Grey's too. So, but when she got up and she did one of the roasts on Comedy Central, and she was hilarious. If you can be a actress who is not known for really being in comedy and hold your own at one of those roasts, big props to you. So this is about her being a partier. It's a little bit like Bad Teacher. In fact, it's called Bad Judge. It's very clearly down the same road. She goes out, she parties all night, she has a messed up life and everything, But in the daytime, on her regular job, she is a judge, and she has to go in and deal with order in the court. So it's a little silly. It might be one of those things that just doesn't work conceptually. I don't think people want to see their judges partying and stuff. I think politically that might just take a bad note. But I like her, so I hope it does okay. I'd like to see her get another successful show. But she's had a good run with her last couple of series. So if this isn't the one that sticks, I still think that there's more life to her.
All right.
The next one you guys should talk about, because the premise or the logline intrigues me, is on the variety list is The Slap.
I don't even know what that is.
It's
Yeah,
on the
that's-
variety. It's on the variety list under dramas for NBC.
Yeah, it's I gotta get back to it because I just closed it because I was going with what you were. I was gonna have you take the lead on them, Corey, because you've done more research on them.
Watch the trailers on that e-site.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Some of these other ones, if they haven't really done trailer premieres yet, I don't know a ton about them.
Can I just go ahead and read the log line for The
Yeah,
Slap?
do it.
Okay,
Take it
it
out.
says, a complex family drama that explodes from one small incident where a man slaps another couple's misbehaving child.
Nice. There was a movie a couple years ago with Robert Downey Jr. and Zach Galifianakis.
Oh, yeah.
It was like a road tripping movie where his
Yeah.
wife was pregnant and he was trying to get back to her, and it was kind of like a Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. But there was one scene in that where he's stuck in this room while Zach is buying pot from a dealer, and he's stuck in there with the lady's 2 kids, and this kid is just being a jerk to him the whole time, and then he just looks at the kid and just smacks him in the face and just looks at him like and dares him to tell his mom. And that is one of those things that I have friends who do not appreciate that being in a movie at all, but my wife and I just died, just like it was the funniest thing to us, because yeah, it's not politically correct in the least. Hitting kids is a terrible thing, sure, but in a comedy and in a reality sense, it's not like I've never been hit as a child, and I can't say that it didn't teach me certain things, and I can't say that it worked as a teaching method either. I just know that when I see it on TV, it seems kind of funny. But TV is not reality, people.
No,
And
true,
that's one to
true.
grow on.
So now ABC, and I'll do.
There's still more NBC stuff on the variety page.
Well,
If you-
but the variety things, a lot of them, I don't know if they have trailers.
you only want to do ones that people can watch a trailer for?
Well, I think
Yeah.
it's also because they're not really on the schedule either. So they might not be fall shows as such.
Right.
That I think is more where we should probably concentrate on things. There are a couple more with trailers on the entertainment page. State of Affairs, which is coming out with Katherine Heigl. I can't determine if this is just, all right, we're going to give Katherine Heigl one last chance. She's been doing commercials. You know, this is a girl whose star was on the rise, you know, with Grey's Anatomy, and then, you know, she was part of, what was the movie with her and Seth Rogen that had the...
No, I thought that was Elizabeth Banks, wasn't it, in Knocked Up?
No, Knocked Up was Katherine Heigl. Elizabeth Banks was with Rogen in Zack and Miri Make a Porno. Yeah, so, and then she shot her mouth off. She shot her mouth off about Hollywood. She basically did a Charlie Sheen, and because she's not Charlie Sheen and she didn't go and rant and do Winning and Tiger Blood and stuff on Twitter,
She's not
she didn't come out clean from it. So, she is a talented actress. She is someone that deserves some second chances, but I don't know that this is going to be... It's an NBC drama and a wealth of NBC dramas I think it's probably going to be dead in the water. I know that they're at least investing in it, but I just don't trust that people are going to want to tune in for it because she is not going to be compelling to the people who normally want to watch this sort of show. But I could be wrong. NBC has some crazy viewers. And the other one is The Mysteries of Laura, which stars Deborah Messing, where she plays a homicide cop who is a divorced mother. And so it's that kind of thing, like I've got my family in the daytime, but then I got to go do my job, and my job is dangerous. So it's the duality of, how do I go home from seeing grisly murders and stuff to deal with my kids, and their book reports. Deborah Messing is another one that NBC keeps investing in because she was on one of their biggest hit shows for a long time. It's not dissimilar from Matthew Perry and the Friends thing, is that she's had a really winning program once. They keep trying to see if she can capture that magic again, and so far it hasn't worked. Some point or another, it's going to be, this is the last call, and at least they're not trying to just duplicate what she did before on her popular show like they do with Sean Hayes.
Yep.
That's mostly it for NBC.
Yeah. So now on to ABC, and I'm going to do the dramas first. And starting with American Crime, and I don't have the premiere dates for a lot of these, because a lot of them just said coming soon. And two of them I couldn't find the trailers, and for one of them I couldn't even find an IMDb page. Because if you Google members only, what could you possibly find?
You'll find a link to talking about the vintage jackets.
Hell yeah, you do. Those things are styling.
Yeah, that's. I think you're getting to like some pornographic sites, right? Is that what you're getting at, Greg?
So no, I was going to the 80s. I was going to the 80s. Them jackets. But no, so let's start with American Crime. This is ABC.
I don't want to look up members only and jacket in the same search either. I gotta clear my Google history after this.
But the logline is all over the news. Are reports about this is American Crime. Are reports all over the news are reports about a young couple in Modesto, California, who were attacked in their home. The pilot was directed by John Ridley, who was also the executive producer and wrote the pilot, and Michael McDonald is also the executive producer. This one it was interesting to me. It wasn't one of those things like when I watched the trailer where I'm like, all right, I'm going to continue to watch, like I'm going to watch the pilot and continue to watch the show. Like there was only two, and one of them I didn't put in the link for the trailer. I put in the link for I think like a clip from the one shot, which was Agent Carter. But it was intriguing if it's your cup of tea. Like I think, hold on, I gotta look and see.
Yeah. Go ahead, Evan.
Oh, I was gonna say what I was reading about it was that I read something where they said that it's Agent Carter, that she goes on missions.
No. Sorry. I'm trying to stick with American Crime.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said
he mentioned Agent Carter in the midst of it, but it wasn't really.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, with American Crime, it's more. There's a little bit of like some racism in here, because it's like it's all set in like they're trying to find this. Like they're trying to find out who did it, and it is intriguing, like for a drama, but basically it's like if you're like, I don't think it'd be one that I'd pick, sort of deal. But it's not like, okay, it's a bad trailer, so don't or like bad trailer looks like it's going to be horrible, sort of deal. Um, it doesn't look. What I'm trying to say is it doesn't look crap.
There you go.
It's just I don't like to watch a whole bunch of dramas. Like I will definitely give it a try. And I recommend you guys give it a try as well, and then maybe it'll be okay. Hey, it is going to be a watch. The next one I couldn't find a trailer for, but I believe it's based on a novel or like a biography. The Astronauts' Wives Club. This one did have an IMDb page, and it's a dramatic series that tells the real story of the women who stood beside some of the biggest heroes in American history during the height of the space race. And the EP / showrunner and writer of the pilot is Stephanie Savage, and Michael London, Leonard Goldstein are also executive producers, along with Josh Schwartz, and Nick Cassavetes is the director of the pilot. And it's ABC Studios, Fake Empire, and Groundswell Productions are the studios behind it. This sounds interesting because I was actually a big fan of Pan Am.
That's what I was gonna say. That the time period reminds me of Pan Am. You read my mind.
But I mean that that only lasted one season, so it sounds like it very well could be like it could be sort of interesting to me in that respect. And I don't remember who was involved, like who actor or actress wise was involved, in there like attached to it that way, or if there was anyone.
Hey, just so you know, I found your IMDb link for members only. It was originally titled The Club.
Oh, The Club.
And so that's why you couldn't find it on IMDb. I also found an article about it. But the description from IMDb is a look at the life of an elite private country club is seen by its members and the employees who work there. That sounds compelling.
Yeah, it's basically going. And actually, some of the cast
sounds like the summer episodes of the first season of 90210.
Yeah, and actually, looking at some of the cast for the Astronaut Wives Club has me a little bit more intrigued.
Who's in it?
You have Odette Annabelle from she was on the Christian Slater Fox comedy that got canceled, Breaking In. Joanna Garcia Swisher now. Who else is in here that I recognize? There's not really anyone else in here that I'm recognizing. But like those two stand out for me because, well, one, they're Joanna Garcia Swisher. I recognize her from other stuff. I always recognize people from weird movies or TV shows.
Me too. I don't know if this is trying to take the place, but it's a women in most of the roles. So I don't know if it's trying to fill the void that's left by, this was a couple seasons ago, by Desperate Housewives or something.
Yeah.
Even though this is a period piece.
Yeah.
Because it's a large cast of women.
Well, I mean, ABC has some very good programming with female leads and female-driven shows. Between your Scandal, your Revenge, Mistress. Well, I don't know about Mistresses, but it came back. So it's good that there is programming like that out there for them, for women and for men who might like those shows too. Yeah, it could be an interesting program. Odette Annabelle was also on the last season of House.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
And she was on Banshee, and she was a badass on Banshee, just so you know.
Yeah, and here I'll jump down to members only, since I have it up here because you found the IMDb page, because it's the log line from it. With the creator, EP, and writer of the pilot is Susan Grant, And then Sarah Timmerman and Carl Beverly are executive producers, and it is a CBS Television / ABC Studios Timmerman Beverly Productions. And some of the main actors involved are Betsy Brandt, Maria Canales-Barrera, and Chris Conroy, and Callie Hernandez are all people that you will probably recognize. Betsy Brandt, if you are a Breaking Bad fan. Maria Canales-Barrera, if you've ever seen Wizards of Waverly Place. It's one that I recognize right off the hand because I will get bored and watch Disney Channel from time to time. But yeah. Let's see. The next one is Forever, because I watched the trailer for this one, and this looks pretty intriguing. You take Mr. Fantastic, not from the new one, but the old one, the actor who played Mr. Fantastic.
Ian Grofeld.
How do you pronounce his name? Ian Grofeld?
We'll go with that.
Yeah.
I can't say that whatever now.
He plays Dr. Henry Morgan, in New York City, star medical examiner who has a secret. And that's every time he dies, he awakens naked in the water of New York. In the Hudson Bay, usually.
So he's resurrected just as he was right when he died. So he's like immortal.
Yeah, well, he's immortal. He's immortal. And I watched the trailer for it.
I think I heard about this.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
So has he been alive for hundreds of years?
I don't know if it's necessarily hundreds of years, but because there was another show where the guy was alive for hundreds of years, where they talk about how New York was once New Amsterdam and whatnot. But the show quickly got canceled.
There's been a lot of shows like that. But I will say, waking up in the waters of New York, just when I thought childbirth couldn't get any more ickier, that's not how I want to come into this world or go out.
Do you think that this is something, him being resurrected or whatever they're calling it when he reappear or rebirths in the water? Is that something? Does it say if it's something that's new to him, or has he been able to do this for a while? Do you think?
He's been able to do this for a while.
Okay, so he knows that it can happen to him.
No, he knows, and he uses it to his advantage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you watch the trailer. Yeah, you watch the trailer and you see him use it, and they even hint at it, because there's a guy who knows about it, because you see him, you see him walking, you see him walking out, hands over gentleman sausage, to steal a Jeremy Clarkson reference, walking out and meeting his friend who is a cabbie, or I think at least pretends to be a cabbie, meeting him, and then they're going to go do something or whatever, and then it's really weird. It's a really interesting premise to a show,
right?
But then they get this weird person of interest layer where a coworker in the police force sees him in a subway, sort of like a Batman Eternal sort of deal here, to tie it into comics, which Corey wouldn't know because he's boycotting DC. So she's getting drawn into this whole thing, and it's weird because it's like he's trying to figure out ways that people die. Like he's like, here, shoot me with this, or whatever. And I'm like, what right person would say that? Oh wait, that's right.
How long does time pass between when he dies and when he ends up in the water? Is it instantaneously or what?
I don't know. They don't say this at all. They don't describe any of this. It's just literally he drinks a poison or something, and then it's like you just see him coming up out of water.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That sounds potentially kind of fun.
Mhm.
If they let themselves have fun with it, that could be pretty cute. And you're right, it does sound very comic booky. It sounds, like a lot of tropes in comic books and stuff. It doesn't sound dissimilar from the Lazarus Pits if you go with the Ra's al Ghul kind of thing. But no, that at least makes it intriguing. That moment of, oh, I'll see if this kills me and how it does. See you in a few. And that's cool.
Yeah. Or right before this, like, not that pair of underwear. No, the other one. The other one. That one. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
That would be freaky if like he does a scenario where he sets it up where he's in front of somebody that doesn't know that he dies or he can be resurrected. He kills himself in front of them in like a weird way, and then like a day later he knocks on their front door, and then they open the door, and he can use it to scare people.
I honestly don't know. I'm pretty sure they have a whole the writers' room on here has to have.
So I assume that when he dies, his body disappears as well. There's not a whole bunch of his bodies like laying around.
Dude,
all over New York City.
you're way into you're so into the writers' room on this.
I think so. I can't. Hopefully, but then again, now that I'm so intrigued, I'm probably going to end up not liking the show, or it'll get canceled like really soon.
No, yeah. See, and honestly, I'm readjusting my scale here because at first I'm like, oh, there's only like 2 shows that I want to watch. This is with us talking about this is like, wait, I wanted to watch this show too because I'm remembering the trailer. I'm like, I want to watch this show too now.
What did you say it was called? Sorry.
Forever.
Forever. Okay.
Yeah, Forever.
Makes sense.
And it's a Warner Brothers Television Pictures is the studio who did it. The next show, you should know a lot of the people involved with it because it is done by a lot of the same people who did Scandal. It is done by ABC Studios and Shondaland. The executive producer and writer of the pilot is Peter Nowak. Betsy Beers is the executive producer. Shonda Rhimes is the executive producer. Michael Offer is the director of the pilot. Brilliant. And this is the one I mentioned earlier.
What is it called?
How to Get Away with Murder.
There we go.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I was sold by the title alone. I'm like, ooh.
This guy in Forever, he should be the one to get away with murder because he knows all the different ways to die.
Oh, no. The trailer is good, but this was like the whole don't judge a book by its cover. I was judging right away. I'm like, ooh. The brilliant, charismatic, and seductive Professor Annalise Keating, Viola Davis, gets entangled with 4 law students from her class. How to Get Away with Murder. Wait, did I read that right? Gets entangled with 4 students from her class. How to Get Away with Murder. Yeah. So basically, it's Viola Davis teaches a law class and teaches them law, but in this sort of like unconventional way, but focuses on these 4 students in this Shonda Rhimes sort of way. So I figured here I was going to jump full throttle. Well, not full throttle. That sounds a little weird. But I was going to jump all in on this. Like how everyone's jumping on the bandwagon or jumping in on Scandal. I'm like, okay, here I'm gonna jump in on this too. Like, well, not too, because I'm not in on Scandal, but I'm gonna jump in on How to Get Away with Murder. Like the trailer caught me. There's a lot of like stuff you'd see with Scandal is in here, like sex and all this other, the political intrigue and stuff. Well, not a lot of political intrigue, but a lot of stuff like that.
If I wasn't already sold by the title, because the title is damn good, you're right.
Oh yeah.
If you look at the cast on their IMDb page, there's only 2 people listed. One of them is the character's name is Lionel Bryant, but the other character in 2 episodes is listed Monotone Quiet Guy. Someone came up with a character concept, it made it to the IMDb page, monotone, quiet guy. That's like naming Cancer Man, which I don't think they named Cancer Man until later on. The fans named him Cancer Man on X-Files. That's pretty cool right there.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a red herring.
Yeah. The next one, which I don't know if we really have to talk about, it's this Marvel's Agnes Cutter.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of it. Have you heard of this thing? It's supposed to be on at Christmas time, I believe. It's on ABC Studios and Marvel Studios. It's in all seriousness, it's Agent Carter. It's Agent Carter starring Captain America's Haley Atwell follows the story of Peggy Carter. That's the log line. And it's Corey. Is it right? Is it supposed to be on between, in the break between?
Yes, as I understand it, they're doing a continuous episodes thing where they're starting Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and where it would normally take its break, they're going to insert the episodes of Agent Carter and then come back directly into the second half of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season. So we should get no breaks as we have one continuous Marvel show hour. It's just that halfway through, it's going to switch to a different Marvel character.
Yeah.
And a different time period and everything. And I've heard rumor that the person who played Tony Stark's dad in
Howard
the
Stark?
Captain America, Howard Stark in the Captain America movies, not the one who played his dad in the in Iron Man 2, that he might actually be showing up in this series as well.
Ooh, that is a huge get.
I
That is
know.
yeah.
Wow. Okay, and the showrunners are Tara Butters and Michelle Fazekas.
Huh.
And they both wrote the pilot. Chris Dinges is an executive producer. Kevin Feige, is it Feige or Feige?
Feige.
Feige,
Feige.
who is produced basically the big guy for all the Marvel films.
Yeah. Same with Alan Fine, Stan Lee.
Creative director.
Dan the Man Lee is an executive producer.
He'll have to
Jeff
show up
Loeb.
in an episode.
Stan Loeb and Joe Quesada, all executive.
Jeff Loeb.
And now, keep in mind, too, we are talking about a time period that is where Captain America, the First Avenger, took place. Now, this might be a little bit past that and everything by a couple of years, but there are a bunch of characters in that movie that we won't get to really see again in the regular Marvel films and stuff because so much time has passed. I would really like to see a lot of the Howling Commandos and stuff that were in that film. If we got Neil McDonough as Dum Dum Dugan, because I really was upset that Dum Dum Dugan was used there because I would like to see him involved in S.H.I.E.L.D. in the present day, so unless he's another person who didn't get to age, it would be cool to see him show up. Maybe the grandfather that was talked about in the last season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we might get to see more of him.
Oh, yeah. What's the black guy from S.H.I.E.L.D., from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., his grandfather, right? Where they used his kit. Remember, they took all the spy gear from his kit.
And then you mentioned it on Monday's show, Corey, Jim Hammond. That there was that little Easter egg on First Avenger.
Yes.
With him in there, that it would be great for him, because then he could possibly be, because in the comic books he's also part android, I believe.
We're in an era where we could easily do the Invaders, but that would make it a superhero show, and that would take it away from being the Agent Carter show. So I don't know that any of this stuff is necessarily going to happen, but it seems like at that time period, there is a lot of potential for some big Marvel moves to happen, which is probably why it's an intriguing thing to follow. And Haley Atwell was great as Agent Carter. I haven't seen the short that they
shot.
Yeah, because it was on the DVDs that I haven't gotten. But I definitely want to check that out and see how that plays comparatively. But this could be really exciting, or it could just be a really good show.
Who will she be fighting against? Hydra, the remnants of Hydra, or
See, the
Why?
things that I've
'Cause
read about it aren't really that in that way. They make it sound like she's fighting to just have something to do because they won't utilize her because she's a woman, and it's the struggles of that. But I don't know that I trust that.
But
That's just some of the preliminary stuff I've heard.
But basically, from what I remember or reading about the one shot, it happens that she's, the secretary in the offices where they're, starting up Shield at the beginning of
Right.
when Shield starts, and all of a sudden they get some call or something happens where they need a person who would be like a Shield agent to go into the field and do something, but she's the only one there at the office, so she has to take charge and go out and carry out this task on her own, and she does, I guess, well enough for them to promote her to be an agent in the new upstart of Shield, I guess.
Okay, so maybe that's what I've read. Maybe it was a synopsis of that story, and maybe that's not what the whole show is going to be about. I hope not, because I want to see a female-led action superhero type show or movie. If they get the jump on this before there is a Black Widow movie or a Captain Marvel movie or a Wonder Woman movie, again, that's going to be a really big thing. I guess it's not too different from a Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but Buffy the Vampire Slayer still stands alone as, one of the only examples of that kind on regular TV. And most of those shows have been Joss Whedon shows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So next is one that's really intriguing to me, TV show wise. Because I already talked about members only. And it's Secret and Lies. It's intriguing to me as one that I think a lot of people will like. Not necessarily one that I would like per se. And it stars Ryan Felipe. I think that's how you say his last name. And basically he witnesses a kid. Watching this, it seemed like this could have been what that Broadchurch spin-off or that Broadchurch American version could have been. But like that American version of Broadchurch could have been.
Right.
Grace Point.
Yeah, this could have been what Grace Point would have been.
Should have been.
Well, yeah, so Ryan Felipe's character, from what I saw from the trailer, he's running in the woods. He's a painter or something like that. He's running, doing his jogging, exercising, whatever you exercise people do in the woods. And he comes across his neighbor, a 5-year-old neighbor, or not 5-year-old, a 10-year-old neighbor. And he sits there and he notices he's not moving. He's unconscious on the ground. So he does what anyone does, any good law-abiding citizen does. He goes down, tries to help, and does all the things, hey, are you okay? And then notices there's blood back behind the head, and then immediately he becomes the prime suspect. And it seems like the head detective is gunning for him. It's not like...
Has it out for him?
Yeah, has it out for him, you are the one who did it, and it's a female detective, which sort of
a fugitive or something.
Yeah, it's not it makes it any different, but it's just means I should be going high instead of low with my voice, but I can't go high, so I have to go low. But it was intriguing, and it's just, I don't know. I think a lot of people will like it. I don't know if it necessarily has the power to go multiple seasons. It seems like it should be an event show, more than it would be, because I don't know how it would be, especially if it's one case, necessarily. I'm not really recognizing anyone on the creative side of this, executive producers. Barbie Klingman, Barbie Klingman's the executive producer, showrunner, writer of the pilot. Aaron Kaplan is an executive producer. Nathan Mayfield is executive producer. Tracy Robertson is executive producer, and then Charles D. McDonnell is the director of the pilot.
Huh.
And the logline is Ben Garner, Ryan Felipe, is about to go from Good Samaritan to murder suspect after he discovers the body of his neighbor's young son in the woods.
What was the name of it again?
Secrets and Lies.
Huh.
Yeah. And
I
then
thought the only thing you found in the woods was porn.
Those were the good old days, weren't they, Corey?
Okay.
And then the last drama before I go to the comedies
Wow, there's a lot of drama.
is the
Yeah.
Whispers. And the Whispers is trying to remember this one. Aliens have invaded Earth by using our most unlikely resource to achieve world. Oh, I remember this one. This one was weird as all get out. Aliens have invaded Earth by using our most unlikely resource to achieve world domination, our children.
So it's like V, but with children, the
As
aliens
opposed to
impersonate
rabbits and
children.
gerbils.
The aliens impersonate.
No, basically, the aliens whisper to the kids to do things like you start with this girl's like, "Mommy, stand on the X." So the mom stands on the X, and she's like, it's a little soft. Woof, falls to her death, and then it's like, then the detective's like, well, why did you do this? It's like, my imaginary friend said to, and I'm like, why? And so it's like I immediately lost interest in the show because I'm like, okay, crazy kids doing crazy things.
So they're doing the aliens' bidding, and then when they do enough of it, then the aliens will actually bother to show up? Or is this like an invasion of the body snatchers where they take over the kids?
They did not show that stuff in the trailer. Yeah,
So
basically,
did you see the aliens in the trailer?
basically, I didn't realize it was aliens until I read the logline just now.
Oh, so
Like, and I read the logline before, and I'm like, wait, oh, it's aliens?
so it's not like, I would think that if it's going to be people like whispers, like, telling kids to do stuff, it would be ghosts, is what I would think.
It's one of those things like they just said. I mean, I don't know. It was like whispers, and I'm like, okay, someone. Like I thought it was like some weird tech thing, like some cult thing, like like the following or something. Like someone's like hiding tech, and like someone actually whispering, like, hey, go draw a X on that weak spot right there in the treehouse, or whatever.
Interesting. I don't think it's going to be for me. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the last time there was a successful show on mainstream TV about aliens.
well, The Neighbors lasted 2 seasons on ABC.
And I said successful.
Oh, okay. I'm glad.
Falling Skies?
I think that was a success.
Falling.
Falling Skies is on cable though.
Yeah, it's not mainstream television. It's
X-Files.
X-Files is the last time, and X-Files was more about the investigation team than about actual aliens. It was the promise of aliens
Wait,
that we both wanted to get to, and as soon as we did, we kind of gave up.
wouldn't any of the Star Trek series be counted with aliens?
Yes. And how long ago has that been?
What, like 10 years ago since Enterprise ended?
Yep. And there's been several. You mentioned the V remake. There's been Threshold. There's been quite a few different attempts at doing an alien type show on regular TV, and they never seem to catch on. It's one of those higher-minded dramas with the sci-fi element that, like I said, people will go back to the well on lawyers, cops, the same sort of things over and over again. Aliens hasn't seemed to make the transition in a long time. So it has to be a particularly good show
Since Alf.
to work.
Yeah, not on network, not on the basic, the big five, Fox,
Right.
whatever. I think on comedies, like Neighbors was the last one do at least for the first season. Then it sort of dropped off after season 2. I think wasn't this last one this third season?
No, they only did 2 seasons. This was season 2, I believe.
Was it?
Yeah, it was I think only season 2.
Oh, I don't know.
And then another show that was this past season, I think, was the show Star-Crossed on CW, had alien visitors, I think.
Yeah.
I tried to watch the pilot, but I couldn't even finish it.
If it's not Arrow or now Flash, I'm not really going to watch it. Okay, I take that back. Jane the Virgin, I'll probably end up watching on CW.
And unfortunately, I hadn't watched Supernatural from the beginning, or I would continue, because I've only really seen the episodes with Felicia Day.
Yeah. Now
Well
on.
worth watching.
What was that, Big Master?
Well worth watching the episodes with Felicia Day. They are standalone episodes. You can enjoy them just like that.
Yeah, I think there's 3 or 4 of them by now.
Around there, yeah.
Yeah. Now on to the comedies from ABC, which I'm really excited for. I watched the trailers for these. I don't think there was one. No, I take that back. There was one where I was not really laughing a lot in, but I was laughing through every one of these. And I'm going to start with Black-ish. Yeah. And this stars Anthony Anderson, Tracy Ellis. I'm gonna kill you, mosquito. You better fly away, boy. Tracy Ellis Ross. One of these. Who else did I say? Lawrence Fishburne. And the log line is Andre Dre Johnson. Anthony Anderson has a great job, a beautiful wife, Rainbow. Tracy Ellis Ross, 4 kids, and a colonial home in the burbs. That's the basic premise. And the executive producers, writers, and all that are Kenya Barris, executive producer, writer of the pilot. Larry Wilmore, who's on the Daily Show, and will eventually do the 11:30 show, I believe.
Right.
Who is the showrunner and executive producer. Anthony Anderson, who is a executive producer. E. Brian Dobbins, who is executive producer. Lawrence Fishburne. Peter Principato. Tom Russo. Helen Shuglund. Paul Young are all executive producers, and James Griffith is the director of the pilot. And the trailer is hilarious. I was laughing throughout this whole thing. Lawrence Fishburne is only credited on IMDb as on 1 episode so far, and I think it might be due to his commitments to Hannibal. And I don't know if it's, and everyone else so far is on 13, so I don't know if it's a mid-season thing. Because I don't know if it's like if Black-ish is going to be a mid-season show, or I don't know if NBC quite knows where they want to put this, or not NBC, ABC. I'm hoping it's here, in the beginning, like in the fall, not spring, because I could see this getting a full season pickup. Like, it was strong, and the basic premise is they live in LA. His I think it's his oldest son, Andre's son wants a bar mitzvah. They're black. And
Yeah.
his oldest son.
Black-ish. Now I see. The ish part is like Jewish but black.
Well, no. The ish part is because they don't act black.
Oh.
They're like he remembers growing up and how hard they had it. That he had it. Like how hard when you think of how hard I had it when I grew up and stuff like this, or how hard you would have it, how hard he had it growing up and stuff like this. And here they're spoiled, like they're sitting there in front of their phones, they're sitting there, with their Flappy Birds and all this and all this stuff. And here he's sitting there going, he's 13 and he wants a bar mitzvah. you know, and all this stuff. And he's like, no, you're getting an African American cultural naming ceremony or whatever. Like he comes up with some crap, like, well, not crap, but he's like some, like he made up the thing like that. And Lawrence Fishburne's hilarious. Like he had some of the funniest lines in the trailer, and it was just brilliant. But yeah, I hope Lawrence Fishburne, because I don't know how many they shot so far, but I hope Lawrence Fishburne is in more episodes than just the pilot. Like I hope he's in the full series. Again, you know, it's probably behind Hannibal right now with priorities. The next one, and we talked about this in the pre-show, is Cristela. This is the studio is 20th Century Fox Television, 21 Laps, and Addleston Productions. And you might recognize 21 Laps. This is the same company that did, I'm blanking on the name, the Tim Allen one, Last Man Standing. This is this is the one that stars Cristela Alonzo, who's also the executive producer and writer of the pilot. And if you watch the trailer, you will recognize the set a little bit because they reused the home set from Last Man Standing. They just tweaked a little bit of the, like, moved some of the stuff and like didn't make it where it's like exactly the same. But I'm like, hey, this looks awfully familiar. And Gabriel Iglesias is in here. And he steals some of the scenes, and I'm like, all right, if Fluffy's in here, I'm watching. If Fluffy's on board, I'm watching. I'm like, I'll be sitting right here with the popcorn. And all this. But it was funny before Fluffy showed up. But the logline is, in her 6th year of law school, Cristela Alonzo is finally on the brink of landing her first big, unpaid internship at a prestigious law firm. And like I mentioned before, Cristela Alonzo is the executive producer, writer of the pilot. Kevin Hench is executive producer and also wrote the pilot. Marty Adelstein is executive producer. Becky Clements is executive producer. Sean Levy, executive producer, and John Pasquin directed the pilot. And it looked really good. Very solid cast on there. They played off. It played a lot like the George Lopez show. Like very similar. Basically, Cristela is she's the the cousin sort of deal. Like, oh, I had you too. She's the odd person out, or she's like the aunt to, or the sister to staying with her family, sort of deal. But it was just so the whole trailer was really funny. I don't know when it's going to be airing. I don't know when any of these comedies are going to be airing, but it's really good. It was really funny. We'll have a link. I'll have a link to my document to my Google Doc, where you can see the IMDb page. You can see the trailer to it. You could see Fluffy in there. He had some really funny lines. I don't know how many episodes he's going to be in, but it should be really good. Next one, Fresh Off the Boat. This one is I want to say this one's going to be a little bit like the Goldbergs, and it brings back. Evan, were you there when I talked about the? Hold on, I gotta take a drink real quick. Were you there at the last What We're Watching Weekly where I talked about Steve Burns' Netflix special Champion?
No, I wasn't.
No. I know Beatmaster, you were there. Where he talked about the show Sullivan and Son and how he got reviews about his mom, about the mom coming across as racist. Well, I have a feeling this show is going to have the same thing. Fresh Off the Boat is. and it's from 20th Century Fox Television, Popular Misconception. And it's in the 90s. 11-year-old hip-hop loving Eddie, played by Hudson Yang, just moved into suburban Orlando from DC's Chinatown with his parents, Randall Park and Constance Wu.
Huh.
And it's actually based off of what's his name? Eddie. He's a famous chef. Eddie like Eddie Wong, I think is his name. Off of his life.
Huh.
And so I don't know if it's Corey, you remember when I was talking about Steve Byrne, his stand-up special champion?
Yes.
Well, this fresh off the boat, I have a feeling is going to have very similar reviews to Sullivan and Son.
Yeah.
Where, talking about his mom, the racist mom reviews.
Anytime there's a show that that seems to follow a family or a culture of a specific race that isn't white, they always say that, oh, it's just playing up the racial stereotypes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what race or culture it is. It's constantly the way that it gets played out.
It just seems a little bit that or at least in the beginning of the trailer, that and I think I might have lost, like I might have got lost in it a little bit, that that Constance Wu had the accent, so that's where I was thinking, okay, like the broken English, they're gonna think, oh,
Right.
stereotypical mom, stereotypical Asian mom's got the broken English, especially when they're saying she came from, like they made the point, like they came from DC, not from I think they're from Vietnam or something like that. But this was really funny. I think ABC so far for me has a lot of very funny comedies coming out this year.
Yeah, it sounds like they have the most number of comedies of any of the networks.
This one I will tell you guys right now while I'm describing it. Go on my doc. Go into my doc. Make sure I said it that way, not switching some vowels. Go to Gallivant. Look at the IMDb page, because I'm picking out all of them. Like, oh my gosh, they got Timothy Oliphant. Right there. I'm like, yes, watching, full submit, full subscribe, watching it already. Because
Yes. Oh my God! I saw the trailer for this, and I was just like, hallelujah! I am watching the hell out of this show.
yes, that's where I'm like, okay, that's why Timothy Oliphant had the beard at the psych.
Amundsen, not Oliphant.
Oh yeah, Amundsen. Sorry, not Justified.
Yeah, because that's what I
But
was
they were both
thinking.
on Deadwood together.
Yeah, but yeah, Gallivant is from ABC Studios, Rhode Island Ave Productions. Dan Fogelman is the executive producer, writer of the pilot. Chris Koch is the director of the pilot and executive producer. Alan Menken is the executive producer. Jess Rosenthal is the executive producer, and Glenn Slater is the executive producer. And Dan Fogelman, you'll know from Crazy Stupid Love, Tangled, Cars, teams up with Broadway and Hollywood award-winning musical theme composer of Alan Menken, The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, and lyricist Glenn Slater, The Little Mermaid, Tangled, for a musical comedy fairy tale of epic proportions.
Huh.
The trailer is hilarious. You have Timothy Olmenson. I forget who is playing Gallagher.
Can I just sum it up for you right now?
Yes.
The Princess Bride meets Cop Rock. And if you're too young for Cop Rock, there was a show that had Hugh Jackman in the pilot a couple years ago where everybody sang in Vegas. I don't recall the name of that one at all. But it is it is a Princess Bride musical show. It is bizarre. It is funny. It is just insane. The main character is a roguish guy, so you've got your, Dread Pirate Roberts / Han Solo type character, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. It is that kind of just zany in a Covington Cross style era. It is the opposite of what Games of Thrones is. It's not the heavy, deep, violent drama. It is like just the swashbuckliness, the evil kingness, must save my princessness, but I don't care. It's so good. I watch this trailer and I'm like, there's no way this is going to make it. There's no way possible this show is going to survive because it is everything I want in a TV show.
Oh, yeah. I was watching this and I'm like, and it was just, I was just in awe. I'm like, it's a musical. Okay, I'm enjoying this. I was enthralled, and then I saw Vinnie Jones. I'm like, Vinnie Jones!
Vinnie Jones.
Oh my goodness! You got Vinnie Jones in a musical.
As soon as I saw Amundsen Son, I was like, just, oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay,
Yeah.
You canceled Psych. I just watched the end of Psych, finally. But you gave me this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. And then I'm like, and then you see the part in the trailer where you get, and the trailer does sort of spoil the pilot, where I'm like, okay, whatever. But you get Gallivant, who goes and stops the wedding, or stops the, like, gets up there, and he's like, I've come to save the princess. And she's like, nah.
She doesn't want to marry you. She wants to marry me. So good. So right on good. I'm like, done. I'm done. You have won me, TV.
I'm cautiously optimistic about this because I don't know if I just don't know if people are going to like it or not, so I'm hesitant to think that it's going to crash and burn, but I don't know. It's a medieval show that's also a musical, so I don't know how.
That's the thing. Is like.
Yeah.
Is it playing it off like it's a Robin Hood Men in Tights or what? Or is it trying to be more serious than that?
No, it is not.
No.
I mean, it's not quite that silly. It's not at that level. But there is a silliness to it, and there is the king himself he is comical. He's the comical villain, which is probably closer to the villain in the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves. I mean, Alan Rickman, his I forget what his character name was. Wow, I'm blanking on Robin Hood of all things. Nottingham. He basically was this very comedic yet still evil character. Rip out his heart with a spoon. A spoon? Don't you mean a knife? No, a spoon will hurt more. It's just that kind of crazy that gives it a bearing of humor. I love this so much. I just can't believe, because the last thing that I can see that ABC really tried like this was Pushing Daisies, where it was something that was so incredible and so outside the realm of everything else on TV that anybody was doing at the time, and could insert songs here and there, and could have a sweet story and a funny story, but just hit every mark. And that show unfortunately hit when the writer's strike did. But I don't know that show could have made it anyways. I just think it was too outside of what people will accept from their television on an ABC or a CBS or an NBC. I just don't think that they're prepared to deal with it. And that saddens me, because it means we get the same tropes, we get the watered-down, homogenized television that we wind up with over here. But if anybody watches this, it's going to be one of those things that you're going to love. And just basically when you watch it, just take bamboo shoots and shove them under your fingernails at the same time, so you can prepare yourself for the torture of what ABC is going to wind up doing to it.
Yeah.
But at least it's not Fox.
Yeah. This is one of those shows that I fell in, like I said before, with all these trailers for the comedies. Like, I enjoyed every single trailer to some extent. and that's including the next one I'm going to talk about. But I enjoyed this trailer a lot. Like it kept escalating and escalating and escalating, and I'm like, okay, how is this going to pay off? Because you gave me a movie trailer with Gallivant. You gave me the typical movie trailer where you gave me the full 3 acts to your pilot. Like where a lot would be like for like the previous one, Fresh Off the Boat, they'll give me some snippets from like maybe from all of them, but you won't notice the fact that here you have like that you've given me all 3 acts. With Gallivant, it's blatant that they've given me all 3 parts. Like they've given me clips from all 3 acts.
Yeah.
Of the trailer here, but I don't care.
I don't care either.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed watching that trailer. I am full on board, and like you said, Corey, if they cancel this, I'm gonna be so upset. I will be so butthurt.
It's the show we want, but it's not the show we deserve.
So the next movie on the list, or the next TV show on the list is Manhattan Love Story. This is from ABC Studios, Brillstein Entertainment Partners, TBD Productions. So another production company to be determined at a later date. Jeff Lowell is the executive producer and the writer of the pilot. Rachel Kaplan is an executive producer. John Lieberman, Robin Schwartz, Peter Traugott are all executive producers, and Michael Fresco is the director. And the logline is, have you ever wondered what your date was thinking? This romantic comedy exposes the differences between men and women through the unfiltered thoughts and often contradictory actions of a new couple who have just begun dating. And so it's not that bad. Honestly, it wasn't horrible. It wasn't that bad, honestly. Looking at the trailer, I will give it a watch. Out of the new comedies, I feel like this will probably be the first to go. Or let me rephrase that. I hope this is the first to go.
Yeah.
Because it seems okay. It seems a little too stereotypical. Like there's the internal monologue like from Scrubs, like where like you hear the voiceover stuff, and like she's talking and you hear him, like he's like, she's got a nice rack, and I'm like, really? Come on! Not every dude stare at just his sister and is like, oh wow, she's got a nice rack. I'm like, come on, not all guys are pigs. Sort of deal. And that's really all I got to say about that. But then it does sort of pay off at the end of the trailer, where, like, because she shows him
her rack,
the TV trope of the list, the list of, hey, this is everything I want to see in New York, and so he makes it up for like, I'm gonna start knocking off the things on her list, and so it's like he shows up at her apartment. Of like, hey, here, let's take a pedicab to go to the Statue of Liberty. And all this. And
I did see the trailer for that. Now I'm remembering having seen it.
What was that, Evan?
Oh, I just saying that I remember now that you started talking about the trailer. It reminded me that I did see it.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, it was, I don't know, it was good. Like it was good. Not great. Not horrible. It was good. It was a solid C+, I would say. Anyone else got anything they want to add for the Manhattan Love Story?
No.
No. All right. The last ABC comedy, and I think this will wrap it up for this one. Actually, do you want to play the trailer for this one?
Oh.
For Selfie?
Huh. The name alone makes me weary of it, but the trailer gives me a little bit more hope for it. Partially because John Cho is in it, although it's a comedy. He's done a bunch of action stuff and comedy, so he can do both Harold and Kumar and then
Yep.
go do Star Trek.
So the movie or the TV show. Why do I keep saying movies? The TV show is called Selfie. It stars John Cho and Karen Gillan. That's from Doctor Who. You know Karen Gillan. The production companies behind it are Warner Brothers Television and Piece of Pie Productions. The executive producers, writers behind it are Emily Kapnick, who also is the executive producer and also wrote the pilot. Julie Ann Robinson directed the pilot and is also the executive producer. And the log line is Insta famous Eliza Dooley, Karen Gillan, has 263,000 followers who hang on her every post, tweet, and selfie. And it's the trailer is really good. Like I really enjoyed the trailer. It's if I'm not mistaken, Emily Kapnick, she just got off of Suburgatory.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Suburgatory.
which was really great. I loved Suburgatory.
It was okay in the last season. It kind of fell apart for me, but
Yeah. But here, so I'm gonna get the trailer. I'm gonna get the trailer set up here for Selfie, and then we can. Tell me I need to do stuff on YouTube thing. Yeah, so we have a date at least on Selfie, which is Tuesdays, which is not on the Wednesday time slot. You know, where it's like the ABC Prime time slot. So I don't know.
When I watched
Go ahead.
when I watched the trailer, it made me think that I was watching a trailer for a movie, not a TV series. I don't know. At least towards the end of the trailer, it made me think of like a rom-com movie more than a TV series.
Well, a lot of them, a lot of the TV shows where they try to instill like there could be a love interest here with, like in this case, it's going to be Karen Gillan and John Cho, their characters, sort of deal. Like they did that with New Girl with Nick and Jess.
I don't think they really did that in the trailer for New Girl. That was one of the things that kind of made New Girl stand out. It was her just endearing herself to her roommates, not so much building a romance. It was surprising to me that they went the Nick and Jess route when they did, but I think it was handled well within the context of the show. I look at this and there's 3 observations I have. One, the first one is, if they're going to have a young version of Karen Gillan, I kind of wish that they had used the girl who played Amelia Pond.
Cousin.
Yeah, but then she would have had to use my number 2 thought of this, which is, remember we were talking about the bad American accent for the American version of Broadchurch that we're going to be seeing? I kind of look at this and I'm like, I don't want to see Karen Gillan play an American. That bums me out. Which brings me to the third point, which is the last time I've seen something like that was in another show that this one kind of reminds me of, and that's Super Fun Night, where they made Rebel Wilson play an American, and the show feels similar to that. I see this as a not smart comedy. It may wind up smarter, but the annoyance of the character from the beginning just doesn't endear me to the show right off the bat. I don't know that I can say I'm going to be watching this one.
Yeah, it's she's not American. I know that. Like she is Scottish. Like or Scottish or Irish, I forget what Karen Gillan's nationality is.
Right, yeah. But it's still the Americanized accent.
There was because I noticed that at first when she's doing all the slang in the beginning, I'm like, crap balls, McClanahan, is she really gonna be doing the American accent crap stuff in there? And
if she talks Twitter, that's like the days of Pauly Shore winding up in movies and talking like Pauly Shore, and then everybody at the end of the movie winds up talking like Pauly Shore. I can't handle it. I just can't handle it. I can't handle when TV tries to make people talk like what they think kids talk like. It breaks my will to live.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly.
Well, one good thing is the whole direction is made by women, so you got at least that point, not just men thinking about women, but women writing about women.
No, that's true, and I do appreciate that, and the fact that Greg pointed out the pedigree coming from Suburgatory, which was a show that I, at least in the first couple of seasons, liked quite a bit, and went through some rough patches when they got a new writer in the 3rd season, and finished off better than I thought it was going to. But yeah, that show makes me feel a little bit better about this. I don't know. It certainly closes on the trailer better than it starts. But I've seen the Pygmalion thing so many times too, and Anastasia and all the other things that this is basically pulling from.
And Games of Thrones isn't in England, but you don't mind having British actors there, so it's fictional after all.
That's true.
But so I think all we need for our Doctor Who hat trick is Arthur Darvill in something over here in America. No, actually, no, not true. We do have the Doctor Who hat trick because we have I'm blanking. We have Captain Jack as a series regular on the next season of Arrow.
Oh, John Barrowman.
Yeah, John Barrowman is a series regular. We have a Doctor Who hat trick.
Yep.
So, I think that just about that wraps it up because we have gone through all the networks. I looked quickly through the cable TV stuff. We'll include links to our research. I'll include links to all the research that we did once this is all posted tomorrow, because it's almost midnight my time. It's like I think 6 in the morning.
Beatmaster is playing the world's smallest violin for you. I'm sure it's something
no,
beautiful
yeah.
European. But do you guys want to at least say what your picks are, what your favorites are from the different networks?
Yeah, so let's go around. Beatmaster, we'll start with you. What's your picks from each network?
Well, from each network, I'd say Battle Creek from CBS.
Going for the show that we don't even have any visuals of. Nice.
That's why. Excellent. It looks interesting, but yeah, we don't know much yet. And Hillberry, I had my issues with her. From CW, Flash is the only thing you can really be interested in, because another zombie show like iZombie, yeah, we're enough of them. I'm waiting for Constantine on NBC after Hannibal, hoping that they don't know boundaries and go all the way, even though it's Goyer. And yeah, Gallivant from ABC sounded fine.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on
Fox.
Fox, yeah. No, that's ABC. No, nothing's Agent from Fox. Nothing.
You're not going to say Gotham?
I'm torn about it. I'm not a Batman fan.
Oh.
Blunt. But I like good graphic novels, and I read many of them.
Okay.
But Constantine is more my thing.
Gotcha.
Evan?
Okay, so far, since I have only heard the premise for most of these CBS shows, I can't really pick one yet. I need to see the trailer for some of them, so I don't know which one of those new technological cyber shows are going to pique my interest more, if any. From ABC, it's definitely Agent Carter. I'm excited to see what happens on that. From NBC, it's on the drama side, obviously Constantine, and then probably for the comedies, I'm curious to see A to Z. And then on CW, probably The Flash and iZombie because of Rob Thomas's involvement. And then on Fox, my anticipated are 2 shows. I'm curious about Gotham, and then obviously, as I said earlier, Last Man on Earth, which I'm excited to see when that airs and how well it'll do with just Will Forte carrying the entire show. Greg?
Let's see. For Fox, yeah, I will echo what you said with Last Man on Earth. Because yeah, I'm just interested with how they're going to do it with just being Will Forte, or how they're going to do bringing in other people.
Flashbacks.
Or yeah, flashbacks, something. I don't know. Let's see. For ABC, I'm torn between Selfie and Gallivant. I'm leaning more towards Gallivant because Timothy Olmanson. I mean, come on, let's be honest. Carlton Lassiter. And then CBS, Battle Creek. I mean, I'm from Michigan. I live in Michigan, so if it gets renewed for season 2 and I hear they're filming in Battle Creek, I will probably make a trek out there, to be honest, and then you'll see me in the background or something. NBC, from what I've been hearing, probably Constantine, to be honest. And then what else am I forgetting?
CW.
CW. CW, I'd have to say, I'm torn between Flash and iZombie. And then Jane the Virgin, Jane the Virgin. I do have interest, but it's not as strong as Flash and iZombie.
Hopefully, my interest will go up when I see a trailer for iZombie.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. I will lean towards the Flash strictly because the trailers for me have been very strong. iZombie could be great, but until I see something of it, and Beatmaster's point that it seems more like it's based around a book, not the original source material, what they're talking about for the comic. Not saying that the book is bad, but just if you're trying to say that it's based off of one thing and then to really kind of take the story from something else without being forthright about it, it's a little worrisome. But Rob Thomas, big selling point for me. I could be something that breaks well ahead, but right now the Flash is way too exciting for me. And if you can see the theme of what I go for, ABC Gallivant is definitely my top pick. I can't imagine a show that's better built for me. Even with Agent Carter coming out and being hugely exciting, Gallivant is what I got to root for, and I know it'll break my heart. NBC, I am intrigued by Constantine, but I think A to Z looks like such a cute show that it kind of already has stolen my attention. I almost forgot that Constantine was there. CBS, Scorpion, surprised me with the trailer. I think maybe it's my new Leverage, my new Human Target, that kind of team doing adventure stuff that I really go for. I hope it stays good as what it looks like in the trailer. CBS has done some big type of action-y shows before that don't really last and don't work out well, but this could be the one for me. And Fox, honestly, Backstrom. It's just weird, and I like weird, and it's funny with an edge, and I am willing to give that a go.
I think that'll be good. Greg, do you remember what I forgot who mentioned it, but it was the show with, I think it's a sitcom starring Ken Marino. That kind of piqued my interest because he's in it.
Marry Me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's on NBC?
Yep.
Yeah, that's on NBC, yeah.
What day?
There was another show that I wanted to mention. Actually, there was two other ones that I mentioned from NBC. Mr. Robinson and the Tina Fey one that stars Ellie Kemper.
Yeah.
We didn't really have trailers for because they were, but I'm interested in those as well. But yeah.
I'll say this: it's kind of weird to think that Fox, of what we just talked about, Fox is the only one with announced reality shows.
Yeah, but then
the
other stations have their true and tested reality shows. It's not like they don't have any. It doesn't sound like they have that many in the fall, except for The Voice on NBC. But what they have are things that have been long going. Yeah, Survivor. That's right. So they don't have to start over again. Whereas Fox has lost the X Factor, which was a big deal for them, and has their basic filler reality shows anyways, which are just never really impactful for long.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, Big Brother was on the news series on CBS. But I guess it's the same as before.
Which new series?
He was talking about Big Brother.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to Big Brother during the summer. Absolutely. Last year was such a massacre. I can't wait to see how they follow that up.
Yeah, hopefully some of the contestants will actually have personality.
Better personality.
Yeah, and not be blatant racists.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But I'm not racist. No, you are. You are, kid.
I'm just from Texas. We're all like that.
Please don't say that about Texas.
Well, I believe that just about wraps us up here. If you are joining us from YouTube because you just searched Fall Network TV previews or whatever, Hey, great. Thanks for watching us. Why not join us on our normal times on Mondays at 9:30
9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific.
West. Yeah, 6:30 Pacific.
Some bizarre time for Beatmaster in Europe.
And you'll put a
On Spreecast.com
and Greg,
/user.
we can put a link in the.
Yes, I'll put a link. It's at Spreecast.com.
Put a link to it in the description.
Yes. Yeah, it's a little difficult for Spreecast. We'll work on it in the future.
And you can always find us on Facebook. If you look up What We're Watching Weekly, we have our Facebook page, and we usually link to that before we start the show. So if you go to the page right around 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern, you can usually click the link and go right to the program from there when we're filming live, and you can always watch it later on. It records. Sort of like here, only different.
Yes, and you can chat with us as well in there. But yeah, so that wraps it up for us. I'd like to thank Evan, Corey, Beatmaster for joining me, because otherwise it'd be really lonely and I'd just be sitting here talking to myself while my dog runs in and out, just watching me talking to myself like an idiot.
At a Hot Pocket, you've just nailed my life.
Thanks.
So, any last words?
Thanks to all of us, and you can't believe this was our longest recording yet, at almost 4 hours.
Yeah.
And thanks to Beat for staying up this late or early for him.
You're a rock star, Beat.
Yeah, thanks.
As you have to do when you watch anything on the Twit Network or DiamondClub.tv, you have to stay up weird hours.
So, take care, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.